Sports Talk Daily with Andrew Hustler Paterson and Michael Remus.
Hey, what's going on, everyone? Welcome to Winnipeg Sports Talk Daily, coming at you live from the site of next week's Manitoba Open here at Breezy Bend Golf and Country Club. Get ready for the big tourney next week. We'll be doing some live shows. Had a little bit of a media day today. Just saw our pals Ken Weeb and Mike McIntyre. And Ken's going to actually join us live here at Breezy in about half an hour. So we're looking forward to have Ken jump on. Our good friend Ryan Hart as well, speaking of the Manitoba Open, former tournament director of the Players' Championship for the PGA Tour, and, of course, the President's Cup in Montreal last year. Ryan's helping out with the tourney, and looking forward to catching up with him. He's going to jump on, and by popular demand, it's been a minute since we've had Jeff Fineberg on. We won't talk a lot of golf with Jeff, but we will get into some NFL chatter as we get closer to NFL kickoff next season. Of course, there is no Bomber availability today. It is a closed practice. We're going to get to the Bombers in just a minute. And we will be doing CFL 110 live tomorrow at 9 a.m. Little bit of a change in plans. We might get to that at some point today on the show. But we will have CFL 110 tomorrow morning at 9. So for those of you that like to join us in the chat and, talk about it like we do on WST every day, often we'll premiere the show right after WST. But I know with the game being on Thursday, our pal Darren Bombing will be doing his show tomorrow with Bluto, presumably right after the program. So we're going to get right to it in the morning. So set your alarms, join myself and the Hammer and a cup of coffee tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. for CFL 110. Listen, Connor's with me. We're going to get into this right away. Do want to thank the sponsors that make WST happen each and every day. Of course, our partners at CoolBet Canada will also present CFL 110. Princess Auto, Rolly's Transfer, St. Vital Dental Center, Manitoba Battery, Canadian Club, along with Aikens Lake. So happy to hear our friends at Aikens Lake have been welcoming guests back this week after a pretty horrific month for them. F Apparel, of course, Royal Sports, Little Brown Jug, Boston Pizza, the Gold Eyes, who are back in action tonight at home. Of course, our friends right here at Breezy Bend. Assiniboia Downs, live racing tonight. We'll touch on that a little bit later on. And we will, of course, get to a why not question of the day for Not Autocorp, Waverly and McGillivray, and do a little fan feedback for our friends at fansfirst.ca. Welcome to everybody in chat. Hit that thumbs up button if you haven't already. Start chatting with your pals, and let's welcome in, live, in person, here at Breezy, Connor Hrabchak as well, who's filling in for Michael Remus over the course of the week. What's up, Connor? How are you?
I'm doing well, Huss. It's been a while since I've been to Breezy Bend. I got to say, it's been too long since I've been here, and it is an absolutely gorgeous clubhouse. There was some rain, a very quick downpour. It seems like it's cleared out a little bit. The golfers were all running in to get lunch, timed out perfectly for the rain to grab some food. But, yeah, this is awesome. Glad to be here doing the show live from Breezy Bend.
Yeah, no doubt. And you know what? It's funny you say just how nice the place is. I mean, they've done incredible work here, both on the clubhouse and the course for the last sort of 4 or 5 years. And I think next week is going to be an incredible opportunity to sort of show it off to the province and the city coming out to see the biggest event of the year. We did find out Eric Comrie is representing the Winnipeg Jets in the tournament. So we're going to be here all next week, and we'll look forward to having Eric join us live here. And the other big news that is now official, when we spoke to him last, it wasn't 100% done, but it is now. Winnipeg's Braxton Kuntz, who plays here at Breezy Bend, 4-time Manitoba amateur champion, will be making his professional debut right here at his home course next week. So it'll be special. We'll talk about that coming up with Ken a little bit and with Ryan a little bit later on. And then, of course, next week, we'll have tons of coverage from here. And I'm looking forward to having Ken and Mike and some of the folks be able to jump on with us. A few of the golfers. We'll have Eric Comrie. We'll get Braxton for sure, as well as all the people behind the scenes to make this event what it is. One thing I think we can say, and that hasn't changed, but it continues to get better, The food here is amazing.
Oh,
If only we had timed it a little bit better. I had one of the greatest clubhouses of my life. I'm halfway through it, and I'm going to be staring at it for the next 2 hours and 10 minutes as we finish this up over the course of the
you know
show.
what you can do? You can just ask Ken about the 2C and then eat it, and he'll take 15 minutes
That's
answering.
a great idea.
There you go. Just
I need a
ask
couple
him.
of just open-ended questions for Ken Weeb, and I should be able to order. Maybe I'll order a second, and then they can get into that as
Ken,
well.
who's got the inside track on 2C, and I'll eat this. Take your time.
But
Yeah.
Ken is going to join us this morning. How was your morning?
My morning was good. So CFL 110. I'll put my hand up. This one's on me. Very rookie mistake. Michael Remus is the genius, as we know, for running the show through OBS. Andrew Zalondek, getting us on and off the air today with VMix. I'm still learning OBS and made a pretty crucial mistake this morning that I couldn't know was happening until after the fact, but went to go edit CFL 110, which was recorded this morning. As Huss said, we'll be going live tomorrow at 9 a.m. and threw it into Premiere Pro to edit it a little bit, and there was no audio. You need audio for a show, turns out. So that one's on me. Again, you said mulligans can only happen once. I'll take the breakfast ball on that one, and tomorrow live 9 a.m. I'll be producing, so I don't know. Fingers crossed.
Yes, we'll be saying prayers tonight. No, I mean, listen.
And let me just say real quick too. When Huss left the call, and then we were supposed to be coming here. This is a little peek behind the scenes. I stared at my phone on Hustler's contact for about 2 minutes, just staring down that call button, thinking, what on earth am I going to say to this guy where he's not going to chew my head off? And I don't know. I was pretty rattled. Still am, but here we are. Yeah. CFL 110 tomorrow.
There was no chewing
No.
of heads off. Anyone that remembers the early days of WST knows that I've been through an event like this once or twice before, although Remus kills it. But
yeah,
I mean, listen, it was not a big deal. It was a killer show. We knew that it was going to be coming out of this week in the Canadian Football League. So Hammer and I have had a dry run. I'm willing to say tomorrow, with the extra practice that we gained this morning, will be the best episode of CFL 110 next. Yes. So make a point of joining us tomorrow live at 9 a.m. if you're able to. And if not, listen to it at your convenience, whether it's on the podcast or whether it is on the YouTube feed, and we will have it. We will get right to it. I did. The funny thing is, I was looking forward to having CFL 110 up for after the show today, because there's not a lot going on today with the Bombers. Right. And, obviously this is the big story this week, where this football team is coming out of the loss to Calgary on the weekend. The gap between the Bombers and the Stamps, or the Bombers and the Stamps and Riders, BC now being just a half game back, and Nathan Rourke starting to really feel it, and everything happening. I mean, there is so much that's going into it. Hammer, I mean, considering you won't see it, he said there's a lot of people who will say the CFL season doesn't start till Labor Day. It could be over by Labor Day for some teams, and we'll get to that as well. I mean, the Toronto-Edmonton game this week is absolutely massive. But as far as the Bombers go, Connor, we're basically looking at a situation where the team is depleted in a number of areas. Mm-hmm. They watched video on Sunday. They had a day off yesterday. Today's a closed practice. We won't really know too much. And then really the next thing we're going to get is a depth chart for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, and a walkthrough tomorrow, and hear from obviously Mike O'Shea, Zach Collaros, and the rest of them. But I got to tell you, I am nervous about this game. Not that we haven't seen the Bombers bounce back and come up with huge home performances in the past. It is that there's just simply a personnel issue right now, and specifically the secondary. I mean, we can get to the offense, which is another. I would almost argue there's more maybe holes in the offense right now. Mm-hmm. But the secondary got burned to a level that we haven't seen in a while by Vernon Adams. And then you see what Drew Brown did. Mm-hmm. These guys were down 22-1.
Yeah.
The game seemingly was over. A lot of people turned it off and went out and did some chores or did some errands on Saturday afternoon before coming back to watch the Bombers Stamps game, and probably were shocked if they turned it on in the second half to see that game so close. Drew Brown was feeling it. Drew Brown knows the stadium, knows this team very well. It is sort of the protege versus the mentor matchup. And let's face it, they're playing for their lives as well. But they are kind of back into it with these back-to-back wins that they've just put together over Calgary and then over Toronto last week. And, you know, if Ottawa, like, this is a massive game when it comes to the crossover right now, because
Right.
were Ottawa to come in and win this game, all of a sudden, you know, BC with a win, they've got Montreal at home. Montreal probably with their third-string quarterback starting from what we are expecting on Sunday.
Yep.
And you have to expect the BC Lions are going to win that game. You know, all of a sudden, Bombers could be looking up. And here's the thing. Regardless of BC, I mean, if BC goes on a run and has a great second half and somehow passes the Bombers, all of a sudden we're talking about a crossover spot. Yeah. And beating Toronto a couple weeks ago was big when it comes to that. This game probably more so important because they were able to take care of the Argos in crazy fashion last week, and they right now would be the team that has the inside track on third place in the East. And it's important to note the crossover does not happen unless the West team has a better record. Any tie, regardless of strength of win or head-to-head matchups, will go to the team in the East. So I didn't expect we'd be talking about such a huge game on the 14th of August against the Ottawa Redblacks, considering the way they started. But here we are.
Here we are. And the big thing with the Argonauts was that it was a home and home. So it wasn't just one game. It was, you know, if the Argonauts swept that would have been big for the crossover. Obviously, both teams split that, so it really didn't mean much in the end. But this game against the Ottawa Redblacks, I 100% agree. And you see, you know, BC went into Hamilton last week. And Hamilton, you know, some people, myself included, have said on our show, they're not believers in Hamilton as a true contender in the CFL, like one of the top two teams with them in Saskatchewan. But they're a team that was 6-2 coming into that game. And BC went on the road and won. And Nathan Rourke played fantastic and led some big drives down the stretch and in overtime. So, BC's a team that could totally get hot. I could see Nathan Rourke, you know, getting hot in the second half of the season. CFL Stats Geek on Twitter posted the records last year through 10 weeks and where the teams are at this year through 10 weeks. The Bombers last year were 3-6. Obviously, we, you know, through the first half of this season, we've talked a lot about last year's 0-4 and 2-6 start. They're 4-4 this year. But it feels worse this year at 4-4 than it did at 3-6 last year because of the personnel. And the offense got healthy this week and then looked terrible in the second half, barely moved the ball, too many second and longs. The secondary, Marquise Bridges, they thought they had that figured out the first couple of weeks. Now he's cut off the team, and Bonds is hurt, Parker's hurt. They're shuffling guys around. So it's a big game this week, this Thursday. Tracking to be a 10th straight sellout, that would be amazing if you know, Bomber fans pack Princess Auto Stadium once again for a 10th straight time. And the Bombers, I think, will need all the fan support they can get because it's a good matchup going against Ottawa in the sense of their defense isn't that good, maybe a get-right game for the offense. But it's also a bad matchup in the sense of your top two corners are hurt, and Drew Brown just hung 373 and 5 touchdowns on the Argonauts last week and put up 46 points. So the Bombers are, a 6-point favorite, a cool bet right now. I think that's a pretty heavy line for these two teams coming in. But the Bombers have a lot to prove on Thursday night. Yeah,
no, they certainly do. And I mean, as I said, it's such an important game. And by the way, speaking of the crowd, I was just looking at somebody that monitors the CFL attendances, and I believe the latest ticket count for the game is 15 available single tickets. In Princess Auto Stadium. And listen, I will just say this, and you know, we've kind of mentioned this before, but for people of my vintage, I mean, if you're in your 40s or you're in your 50s, or even if you're in your 30s, the thought of 10 straight sellouts, which is more than a season's worth of home games.
Yeah.
Being sold out anywhere in the Canadian Football League, it's basically inconceivable. And listen, I mean, the credit goes to not only the fans, but also the organization for doing what they've done to make the game day experience what it is right now. And as I say, the bar is set very high in the seats. The bar is set very high on the field by the standard that this team has set over the course of the last 5 seasons. And that, Connor, is why when we sit here and kind of do the autopsy on what happened on Saturday after being up 17-0 and look back at a few of the other losses, I think there is an argument to be made that despite the fact that, yes, the Bombers have one more win right now than they did last year, the expectations of this team turning it around the way they did last year and basically being the best team in the league from the point that they were 2-6 on till the rest of the year is a tough core. And I mean, it's a tough schedule too. I mean, they've got Ottawa and Montreal. Exactly. These are huge games for Winnipeg. And then you go back-to-back against the Riders. You got the Hamilton Tiger Cats twice that are very, very good. So, listen, if the Bombers are going to challenge in the top 3, make it interesting for a bye, anything like that, I mean, they basically need to start a streak right now and then get ready to turn back into the team that we've seen before when the Riders host us for the Labor Day game, and then everybody comes back here for the party. That is the Banjo Bowl. But,
just real quick on the attendance. You were saying on the show that the last home game, you thought the Rum Hut area was like a nightclub.
Dude, it was insane.
So I sit in the upper deck. I sit in 208, 209, very good seats. Upper deck, can see the whole field. I love those seats. And I went 2 sections over to meet with some buddies, like closer to the Rum Hut in the upper deck. So I'm just moving closer. And they were like, yeah, we're going down to meet a few people down there in the Rum Hut. And I looked down, and it's just a sea of people. I was like, good luck. You go ahead. I'm going to stay up here and watch this second half, because there was a lot of people. And I was like, if you're in the mix, great. But I'm not the type to go down and join that party. But again, a lot of people my age are around that area and coming to games and not really caring about if the Bombers win or not. But it's a night out. It's a Friday night in Winnipeg, and it's usually, I mean, we've gotten pretty good weather this year, usually a beautiful night out. And despite it being on Thursdays as well, people don't really care. They love the party atmosphere, and that's a credit to what the Bombers have done. And even in a year where there's so many question marks about how good the team is, there's been some tough home losses. I mean, they had the blowout home loss to Calgary. People keep coming back. People are still having a great time, and I think that's worth noting. And it truly is the golden era of Blue Bomber fan support if we do hit 10 straight sellouts.
Well, for sure. And listen, I've said this in a lot of ways, the golden era of Blue Bomber football. I mean, listen, obviously, last game of the year, last 3 seasons notwithstanding, I mean, to get to 5 straight Grey Cups has just been unbelievable. The home record over this period speaks for itself, what it's done to the crowd and everything. I mean, this is what people are trying to get in other markets right now. But for Mike O'Shea, his focus is not, it's great that the fans are behind us. I mean, listen, they all appreciate it. But it's about winning football games and trying to give yourself the best chance to be playing in that final game of the year for the 6th straight season at home this year in Winnipeg for the Grey Cup in November. So right now, I mean, I will say this. We'll pop in and we'll do a raid over to Bomber HQ. Ed Tate will have his podcast afterwards. Big Gabe Wallace is going to join him. And it's funny, he mentioned that Gabe is going to be there, and jokingly, if he can fit into the chair. I was sitting in my folk seats last game, which are right behind the Bomber bench. Gabe Wallace is one of the biggest humans I've ever seen.
He's good too.
I mean, he's an absolute monster.
Yes.
So anyways, that will be interesting. But looking at the offense right now, Brady Oliveira tried to literally put that team on his back last week.
Yes.
He was absolutely brilliant. But outside of Brady, you can start with Gabe Wallace and the offensive line that I think had a tough time at times. I mean, the receivers, the leading receiver was 3 catches for 32 yards after Brady Oliveira, who, of course, was getting tons of dump-offs for a myriad of reasons. And Zach Caleros, who, right now I believe is the worst quarterback to interception ratio among starters right now in the league. And while he didn't turn the football over last week, I think a lot of that played together with the number of sacks right now. But the one thing I'll say, Connor, and even though it probably sounds like I'm sort of down on the team, I'm just talking about what we've been watching, and it has been concerning. I don't know how you could feel differently. Is that, and this goes back to that 6-point spread at Coolbet. The Bombers will get reputation points on point spreads, but the reputation also reminds you what they're capable of doing when they come together. And it would not be the first time where there were some people like myself going, I wonder what we're going to see coming up. And then they look like the Winnipeg Blue Bombers of the last 5 years. That being said, that's a far cry from what we saw in the second half Saturday.
Totally. And I don't think I think Jeff Hamilton said this on the lost edition of CFL 110 this morning as well. So I'll just steal his content. Why not? He said he wouldn't be shocked if the Bombers absolutely, roll the Redblacks because it's in their DNA. It's in the culture here. And we've seen it so many times over these past 5 years. And really, every single time the Bombers are playing at home and people are counting them out, they usually bring their best. This year was one of those times where it was different. Friday night against Calgary, the rematch coming off a bye at home. The Bombers were favored, and they got blown out in that game. And that was supposed to be, the Bombers we've seen in the last 5 years, and it wasn't. So now is another opportunity to see if they're closer to the Bombers that we know and love of the past 5 years that show up at home when everyone's counting them out. Or are they going to get blown out, let Drew Brown run around, throw some deep passes on this banged-up secondary? It's going to be a big game. Just real quick on Gabe Wallace, you said he's one of the biggest humans you've ever seen. Per PFF, he's the highest-rated pass-blocking guard in the CFL. So he hasn't played every single game for the Blue Bombers. I think the first couple of games of the year, he wasn't even in their starting lineup. But with Bryant back, Gabe Wallace in there. Micah Vanterpool's been in and out with some injuries. Kolinkowski, Neufeld. The O-line, I think there could be some better days ahead for, especially Gabe Wallace, who seems to be fitting in there and playing well, at least pass blocking. One of the best pass blocking guards in the CFL per PFF.
Well, and I'll say this, and I know we talked yesterday, and the why not question of the day for not Autocorp but Waverly and McGillivray was sort of like which area you're most concerned. And, most of the people, about 50%, I think, of recipients agreed with our pal Josh Frey-Sam of the Free, who was on with us yesterday, and said it was the secondary. But at the same time, and this was kind of blew me away, but I mean, Calgary did only score 12 points in the second half, and were the offense able to do a few simple things, including just milk a couple more first downs when they had the ball at the end, which is Bomber football, textbook Bomber winning games in the fourth quarter. We could be having a different result. But I do think that Drew Brown is going to test the secondary. I think Ottawa's going to get theirs. I think it's the CFL. And more often than not, you got to score points to win. To me, tomorrow's game is, can this Zach Collaros-led offense get back to being productive, moving the chains, not getting killed in time of possession, creating some explosive plays through the air, through the receivers, through not Brady Oliveira. And can you establish that, which allows Ottawa to have to worry about the passing game and not concentrate so much on Brady as teams have in the past? I mean, when you think about what Calgary was doing, it's kind of amazing that Brady was able to have the day that he had, both on the ground at almost a 6-yard a carry clip, albeit only on 12 carries, and the amount of that damage that he did through the air, catching all 9 targets for 100 yards. Like, this is a huge challenge for the Bomber offense. And listen, we saw Nick Arbuckle get his against Ottawa last week. Short week for both teams, so no real advantage. If anything, the advantage, I guess, is on Winnipeg's side because they got home. They're not traveling to this game. Tomorrow they'll do a walkthrough and they'll be ready to go. But listen, the stakes are high for this game. And to me in particular, Zach Collaros, the receivers, the offensive line, that entire group needs to come together. And with that comes some pressure on Jason Hogan to find a little bit more of what was going well in the first 3 weeks of the season, as opposed to the sputtering that we've seen really overall for the last 5 games, even including the win over Toronto.
Yeah, and you've seen flashes too, like the first half against Calgary was pretty money from Jason Hogan's perspective and leading on Brady Oliveira. They were moving the ball, punched the ball in a few times. Jarrett Stearns wide open on his touchdown pass, but they just haven't put together a full game ever since that one against Edmonton, which Edmonton the first 5 weeks of the season was just handing out free touchdowns to whoever wanted one. So I don't really, the Bombers, great on them for bringing their A game in that one. But the way the CFL is built, and you touched on that, and the way that the Bombers are built, is to cover up whatever defensive warts they may or may not have with their offense, with an MOP level quarterback, with an MOP level running back, with presumably Dalton Schoen healthy, who he's not healthy right now. But some of these receivers have to step up. And you mentioned also the 4 sacks in the Calgary game. I don't see all of those as being on the O-line. I don't see all of those as being on Zach Collaros or the receivers. I think it's a mix of everything. There were a few plays where Josh Frey-Sam outlined yesterday for the Free Press. Zach would hit the top of his drop, pat the ball, and there'd be nowhere to go. So now he has to go make a play. There'd be some plays where Calgary's rushing 3, Zach has a clean pocket, and he bails out of it. You don't really need to bail out of that. That's not really on the O-line. That's more on Zach. And you can mask a lot of pressure issues if wide receivers are getting open and getting open quickly at the top of Zach Collaros' drop. So that's something that I'm really watching for going forward. Jason Hogan, on the WST Bomber Report with Schnitzy and I, we've talked about him maybe more than any other player in the Bombers organization, any other player or person in the Bombers organization so far this season. And he finally ran the ball on first down inside the red zone against Calgary. That drive ended in a touchdown. That's something we're watching for going forward because they've had some back-breaking turnovers in the red zone on first down so far this season. So a lot to be concerned about with the offense going forward, but a team like Ottawa is a team that the Bombers can take advantage of if their execution is right.
Yeah, this we'll be all over it tomorrow. And as I said, we'll have the addition of CFL 110 in the AM. Mike McIntyre is going to join us tomorrow on the program, and we'll be, I believe, Marshall Ferguson is calling the game. He's going to pop on Thursday, which will be really fun. Marsh does some incredible video work and prep, and he's got the mind of a QB. So I'll be very interesting to see his thoughts on Zach Collaros and what is, is it just simply guys not getting open? Is he under too much duress to see the guys that are open? Or to be honest, it's probably a bit of a combination of all three, but we'll certainly have a lot more coming up in the next little bit. And if any Bomber news breaks over the course of the last little bit, we will get to that. You know what? Ken's going to join us in just a minute here. Of course, Eric Comrie will be here, and we'll look forward to having him on the show next week when he's playing in the Manitoba Open. We're doing the shows out here. It just got me thinking. Eric Comrie, like if I was putting together like a dream foursome, I think Eric Comrie would be in it. Or certainly if you were asking me if you wanted to play around with anybody on the Jets. Yeah. Like you want to talk about a vibes guy that would be fun to ride the cart with and just shoot the shit with. Yes. Eric Comrie would be in it. I have no idea. He's obviously a good enough player that he's able to come out with. But we've seen year after year, the Jets guys. Shout out to Sandberg. I believe he is the highest ranking Jet in the Manitoba Open that has played so far. But Comrie is going to be a guy that adds a lot to any group. And it'll be interesting to see him do his thing next year.
He's a fan favorite. It's going to be fun to watch. And it's always interesting to see, these professional high-level hockey players coming to a sport like golf where they might not be as good. I mean, we know hockey players are traditionally good at golf also, but how good? You mentioned Sandberg, pretty good golfer himself, but Comrie, ultimate vibes guy. I agree with you. If I was building, like a Winnipeg Jets golf foursome, I think he'd be in it for me too.
Yeah, if you're picking a couple of guys from, one Jet, one Bomber, and one guy from the media. Well, we have someone. Well, the funniest thing is Eric Comrie is always talking. Ken is always talking to his ball. So there is multiple conversations going on. Anyways, Connor, hang tight. Yep. Stay on if there's anything else with the Bombers that we should let people know about. I don't think there will be with the closed nature of today's festivities. But we'll have Connor step out. He'll join me again at the end of the program. We do have Ryan Hart coming up a little bit later on. And I said a little visit from our pal Fineberg coming up as well. But Ken's going to join us live here on the spot. We'll do it after. We'll get to the why not question of the day, as well as some fan feedback a little later on. Although I will say I did quite enjoy some of the action in the chat after the CFL 110 incident was mentioned early on. T. Will, incredible work in the chat. This is, and I said, okay, did we lose an hour? Did it suck? Yes. But on the other side of it, and I'm always a very positive person, it was a great content opportunity for the opening of today's show. So again, mark that down, 9 a.m. tomorrow. Listen, before we bring Wiebe on here, I got to thank our friends at Rolly's Transfer for their support of WST. Folks, if you've got a move coming up, make sure you lean on the experts at Rolly's, the most trusted name in moving Manitoba. They've been doing it, family-owned and operated, for over 60 years. And got an amazing new website at Rollies.com. If you head over there, click on that request to estimate bit in the top right corner, and put in the promo code WST. They're taking care of Winnipeg Sports Talk listeners with a special discount on moving services and moving supplies. And then simply let them know when and where you're planning on moving and what is going to be moved. And they'll turn it around with a great quote and get you locked in for the white glove treatment that Rollies has been famous for in the city for decades. For all your moving needs, make it Rollies Transfer. Find out more, request an estimate today over at Rollies.com. It was our friends at St. Vital Dental Center. I got to tell you, Dr. Terry's a great dude, a friend of mine for a long time. Kind of funny that we're breezy right now because he's a very noted member of the Manitoba golf community, and they supported they were the sponsor of the Manitoba Match Play Championship this year. But they have been we've had so many WSTers that maybe have heard me guilting them into when was the last time you were at the dentist, and say, I'll pop down to St. Vital Dental Center, and just consistently hear so many great things. And I can tell you as a customer myself, always a great spot to go. Bottom line is, if it's been a minute since you've been at the dentist or you're looking for a great new spot for you and your family, St. Vital Dental Center has been taking care of customers for decades in St. Vital. They've got a beautiful new facility. It's at 167 St. Anne's, convenient free parking right behind the building. Head on down to stvitaldental.ca to find out more and make an appointment to pop in and see Terry and his team. Hey, Bomber fans, big game tomorrow. If you're planning to stock up for your tailgate, head on down to your Manitoba Liquor Marts. Check out the Canadian Club Pack, which, of course, has the CC and ginger, the citrus smash, and the half and half, which is basically the Arnold Palmer iced tea and lemonade with Canada's favorite Canadian whiskey. And keep your eyes out for the very limited edition Blue Bomber label Canadian Club, which is available now, as, of course, Canadian Club is the official spirit of the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. And hopefully they've stocked up enough to handle another sold-out crowd at Princess Auto Stadium before. And the crowd is going to need to be the power behind the Bombers tomorrow. Manitoba Battery has been the power behind the Manitoba Summer. Your boats, your campers, ATVs, you name it. If it needs a battery and it's fun during the summer, Manitoba Battery is the best price on it. Manitoba Battery is your local option where they beat the pants off the big box stores. Yeah, the little guy winning again, saving up to 60%, $60 a battery. Head on down to either Logan Avenue or Dovercourt Drive. They'll love to help you out in person, but continuing their excellence of customer service, they can also deliver those batteries to you for free anywhere inside the perimeter with any purchase over $60. So for all your battery needs, shop local, save money, drive past those big box stores to Manitoba Battery, or order online with free delivery at manitobabattery.ca. Well, look what the cat dragged you. My good friend Ken Weeb. I was somewhat stunned that we were going to do this show here. It was media day, and Ken was not immediately going out into the chorus, but yet he is reported for duty here on WST in person. Great to see you. What's going on?
You as well. Great to be with you. Yes, I don't miss many opportunities to head out in the chorus, but if I were out in the chorus, I wouldn't be here with you. So
it's true.
It's good to be with you.
Big plans tonight. A bit of a world tour, Ken Weeb. If you're going to Falkland-Rama, keep your eyes out for the Ken Weeb magical mystery tour.
Indeed, yes. Taking part in a free press event this evening. So, hey, duty calls, Huss. Duty calls.
Have you been to any Folklorama pavilions before?
Last year I was on the same tour, yes. So it's fun to work your way around the continent within your confines of your own city.
Absolutely. Well, shout out to all the WSTers that went up to Spirit of Ukraine on Friday. Our guy Spency. You would be shocked to see what that man can do as a Ukrainian dancer.
Oh,
He's built like an old lineman and yet moves like a gazelle.
really?
Yeah.
Moves like Jagger. There you go.
No, there's no doubt about that. Hey, listen, we can get into a little bit of off-season talk, but just quickly, what are you thinking about the Bombers right now coming out of that tough loss? I mean, 17-0. Listen, it's obviously not clicking the way they want to do
Right.
it. There's still the irony of this is that they are at 4-4 and have a better record today than they did last year. I would argue the scenario is quite different. I mean, at that time, Sask was going into 2 months without winning a game,
Right.
and we were sort of waiting for somebody to step up. Teams have already stepped up this year, and man, a big one for the Bombers tomorrow night.
Yeah, Huss, it's been interesting to watch because, I mean, but also recency bias is very much alive and well here. I mean,
True.
I covered early on last year when the team was 0-4 and kind of, sky was falling, world was coming to an end. The Bombers' reign is definitely over. And lo and behold, they've found their way back and made it to the Grey Cup. But I'm with you, Huss. It doesn't feel the same. Like the efficiency that we're used to seeing the Bombers operate at, I would say both offensively and defensively, is just not at that crisp level that Mike O'Shea coached teams. The discipline, haven't seen as much in the explosiveness in terms of the offense and the defense. There were some busted coverages last year, but it just seems like the defense is not operating as strongly as it has been. And that's to take nothing away from Willie Jefferson 2 weeks ago when he was an absolute machine.
I'd argue that Willie had a
knockdown
monster
machine.
game last week, too.
Fair.
Like, I thought the defensive line did everything they could to mask the
For sure.
real problems that they were having in the second.
Secondary's got to get better. Like, there's, again, I'm not a big X's and O's guy, football by my own admission, but secondary has been getting beat too often. And yes, we understand it's a 12-man unit and certain things sometimes the person, it's just like hockey. Sometimes the person closest in the frame is not necessarily the guy that is to blame. Some of it is schematic, but I think it's pretty obvious that the secondary is under fire. Jordan Younger's got to get his DBs playing a little better. I mean, there's no way around it. There's been some personnel changes. Yes, we understand that, but the secondary's got to do a better job. And again, against the run, Jeff Hamilton, I know you talked about it with him last week, that against the run, the interior has not been as strong as it has been in years past also. So that's another area that's got to improve. And honestly, we know the Bombers lost a few offensive targets last year, from last year, but they need to get themselves going and being a little bit more dangerous.
Breaking news. The legend himself, Joe Aiello, has entered
Yes.
has entered the room.
Indeed.
Looking like $1 million US tax-free. Pretty nice golf shoes as well.
Yes, he looks good. Big Joseph.
Listen, living legend. There's been a lot of beauties around here, but the beauty quochient.
No, come in the frame here. Come in the frame. Come in the
Just
frame.
quick, give him a quick high. There he is.
I'm 2 weeks late from SummerSlam. Sorry. I listen all the time, but to see it live and in living color, you guys look better in HD.
Joseph.
There's
Joseph.
Joe just giving us our flowers. Says it's what an opportunity to see us do it live. We will be doing it live all next week, Tuesday through Friday, right here at the Manitoba Open.
One thing not struggling on the Bombers, Sergio. Bomb.com. Let's go.
I'll be honest. Whatever happens the rest of this season, and I realize it was a very, very close game. Calgary's a really good team.
Sure.
I'm most disappointed about the result of that game, that did not end up being the greatest game-winning kick in CFL history. I mean, certainly by distance. I mean, a record-tying one. He's so much fun to talk to watch. And I got to tell you, I mean, we watched a lot of NFL football. I don't know how they've managed to keep him here, especially after last season with like multiple 60-yarders.
Yeah.
He is so money from distance. And, we're lucky to have him here, the character he is. And as I say, just disappointed that didn't end up in a win for Winnipeg, because I think that kick would be remembered more for the legendary play that it was by guys that often are getting a lot of the brunt of it if they don't make it. When they do, it's just that's their job.
Well, and then too, in a week where somebody hits a 70-yarder in the NFL preseason, we were at Winnipeg Beach at the lake watching, sort of in the distance, but he made the field goal, and you kind of think, it's a CFL, so you can't say it's over, Huss, but you think that you went that far, drove far enough, hit this big field goal that would have been good from at least 66 or 67. I'm not sure if it was good from 70, but it might have hit the upright, and then you're just worried about if it goes over or back. And then just sort of collapse is too big a word, but that's usually a time where you see the Bombers defense, even in a game where they've bent, they don't usually break. And in that situation, just, gave up too many yards and the penalty and everything else. It just kind of compound interest led to another disappointing loss for them.
It's a good point. I mean, the bottom line is what's unfortunate is that he had to attempt a 63-yarder because, most Bomber teams over the course of this last, O'Shea run, come crunch time in the fourth quarter, they'll move the chains. They'll get that first down. They'll do what they need to do to keep the football in their hands.
Exactly.
And unfortunately, on a 3rd and 11, the fact that O'Shea had the confidence and to throw him out there was, incredible, because there's two things that needed to happen to win that football game. A, he needed to make a record-tying field goal in CFL history. The other thing was that they were going to need to shut down Vernon Adams with 40-odd seconds left in the game, which is an eternity in the Canadian Football League, as we know. But listen, you move on. The team is 4-4. The understudy, Drew Brown, coming to town tomorrow to take on Zach Caleros. And I have little doubt that Zach and his teammates will be incredibly motivated to have a much better performance. And tough turnaround for both of these teams. They played on Saturday. Both crazy games.
Yeah.
And then turning it around quickly, one practice each, walk through tomorrow, and then a showtime in front of what will be 10 straight sellouts.
It's impressive, right? The place will be rocking, Huss, right? That's the beauty of what's happening here. And, you're always wondering when a team is not enjoying the same level of success that it has previously, will that impact the crowd? And, it's just a sort of a testament to what the Bombers have done to make it a fun and festive event to attend. And, again, now we know CFL season really only starts at Labor Day, get it, but teams want to put themselves in a good position, and it should be a fun one. And we always know this is a special one for the good folks from Ottawa too, knowing Bobby Dice, and it's still very special for him to be able to the homecoming game for him is always a lot of fun for him, and a lot of his friends and family members that sort of have seen him ascend up the coaching ladder.
Hey, by the way, speaking about the game tomorrow night, we just mentioned there's just a couple singles left. We do have shout out to Schnitzy and our pal Scott Westman. And we've got a couple pairs of tickets to give away for the game on Thursday. Now, normally I'd probably do something on Instagram. We would probably do something through the website, but that's the CTO's department. He's on holidays this week. So I'm not going to oversimplify this, or not going to overcomplicate this, I should say. I'm going to simplify it. If you are looking to go to the game tomorrow, if you would be so kind as to send me a direct message on either X or Instagram at Hustlerama, HUSTLERAMA. Give me a follow too if you don't already. But fire in just your name and your email in those two, because if you do win, I need to be able to send you those tickets. So if you want to go to the game on Thursday night and you do not have seats and you are able to go, you can enter, fire me a message, and I will announce a couple winners tomorrow on the program. And you'll be able to get the tickets that are not available right now. I had people looking for pairs. I'm like, sorry, we were just checking. There's 15 singles left for the game, which is great. You can get your butt in the building and hook up with your friends. These are actually pairs of seats. You can take someone. You can sit. You can watch the game as opposed to being in the nightclub that is in the North End. But hopefully maybe get there later on in a celebratory mood after a big, big Bomber win. Why not question of the day to all of you in the chat for not Autocorp, but Waverly and McGillivray. I was just mentioning how much fun I think it would be to spend a day swinging it with Eric Comrie. Who would be the Jet that you would want to golf with the most? Spending a day in the cart for good times. Ken, you know these players very well. But give me your top 3 of Jets right now that would be a great hang for 4+ hours at the course of your choice, preferably here at Breezy. Maybe not during these tournament conditions because they're gnarly.
I was going to say, it depends what the stakes are, right? And the competitive nature of all these guys. Again, I think 3 of the guys who play together a lot, Eric Comrie, Mark Scheifele, Josh Morrissey, I would say they're all, guys that you could spend a lot of time with enjoying the game, but there's some intensity to them as well. Adam Lowry is a guy who loves golf a lot. Dylan Sandberg. In the last couple of years, we haven't really heard as much about the golf exploits. Dominic Toniato was one of the sneaky kind of under the radar guys. I think broke par one day. That was his career best. But they've got a great group. Morgan Barron, who also played in the event previously. Again, we always talk about the personalities and, Connor Hrabchak. I'd be curious to see what Connor is like.
Dude.
You know what he'd be like on the boat? I wonder what he's like on the course. I would think that he'd be an interesting guy to play with.
Great question.
It would be fun to see his reaction to me talking to my ball, as you referenced earlier.
Yeah,
I'm not sure he would enjoy.
Everyone thinks goalies are weird until they spend 4 hours with you on a golf course.
I'm a very positive guy, but we should it should be a live streamed event though, for sure. Yes.
I think Comrie's definitely making my top 3. I think I'd have to say Sandberg. Not only can he swing it, we saw right now,
bombs
Eric Comrie will be looking to beat his mark as the most successful Jet in the Manitoba Open. Listen, I'm a Hrabchak guy. Hrabchak probably there just to, listen to him talk to himself and whatever else happens, about golf and, talking about everything else. But I think the guy that would be a sneaky good hang, Alex Iafallo.
Oh, okay. There you go.
Iafallo does seem like one of the coolest.
I was going to say Velarde might also be one of the sneaky ones, just based on some of the interactions with the media.
Well, hey, listen, he's
I like it. Like I said, I've enjoyed those interactions, but I think he'd be a fun guy on the golf course also.
No doubt. Well, you can. I'll take a look at some of these comments. We can get into that in fan feedback.
And also, we should say
later on,
because we haven't had the chance to be around him as often. He's not in the room as often. Jonathan Taves, a guy who's played a lot of really good courses. I think he's a guy who enjoys the sport as well.
Yeah, no doubt about it.
I believe he's even played Pebble.
Oh, dude, I'm sure he's probably. When you're Jonathan Taves and you're winning the Stanley Cup and the Conn Smythe that early on, and then doing it again 2 years later, and then doing it again, you get into a special air of athletes, and it's particularly here in Canada, but even in the United States. What do you think that game is going to be like? January 19th, Monday, when the Winnipeg Jets go to Chicago for the first time. And Jonathan Taves is wearing a visitor's jersey for the first time ever at the United Center.
Yeah, I think it'll be odd for Blackhawks fans who know that there'll be a There'll be a statue built of number 19 out in front of the building beside Makita and Hull at some point here coming up. But I think the reception will be as warm as possible. This is not a booing situation. The fan base knows that when they went into deep tankathon material, and Taves was basically told you're not welcome back by Kyle Davidson and their crew. So I think that it'll be a very warm reception. I think it'll be odd for Jonathan, but I think because it's happening, because of the timing. If this were happening in October, I think it might be a little bit more heartstringy kind of thing. But because it'll be kind of halfway through the season, I think there'll be a sense of normalcy to wearing the Jets jersey that it won't feel as weird. It will still feel strange for him, but I don't think it will be as odd as if it was maybe, say, the Hawks home opener or something like that. Then I think it would be very strange. But it'll be something else. And I mean, Huss, you've been talking to people around the province in the last while. I think the home opener for Jonathan is going to be it's a community event. This isn't just a special moment for Jonathan. I think that it's something that the community is going to embrace fully. I mean, we saw what it was like with the introductory press conference after the signing. Been hearing from a lot of people in their Jets drafts for tickets that are in a shared situation. The opener is always a big hot ticket.
Yeah,
I think even more so this year, given the
1-1.
Yeah,
I think it's 1-1 in the draft.
Yeah, it has to be.
I mean, listen, there's a bunch of big games every year. I mean, the original 6 teams, the Leafs, the Habs. You always know what you're going to get.
Vegas,
McDavid's coming in, but I'm with you. I mean, listen, I'm already thinking about just what the scene is going to be like at FanFest on the 20th. I mean, that we're going to see him actually in a jersey, like with skates on for the first time, presumably, or just around. And I mean, listen, I know you've had similar conversations, but the amount of people that I wouldn't even consider like really hardcore hockey fans, sports fans in general, are took notice immediately. Like, they were the ones that were asking, is this Jonathan Davis thing really going to happen?
Right.
And now that it has, I'm really interested to see just the effect it has on, the fan base and what it'll be like, because this is a guy that is a legendary player. He's going straight to the Hall of Fame. I would say he's the greatest player our province and our city has ever produced. There'd be some other guys. Terry Sawchuk had a legendary career, although it ended too early. But it's pretty hard to argue with it. And, he's going to be there. And in addition to everything that this team is hoping for him from him on the ice, I think we're going to see a real tangible effect at FanFest, throughout training camp, and then certainly at a home opener, which will be probably unlike any we've seen outside of obviously 2011, which was on just a whole nother level. I want to talk about a comeback. That was the comeback, and we all know why.
Yeah, Banana Land, even first preseason game, Bufflin scrap full Monty there, but full meal deal. I'm honestly, just as we're sitting here talking about it, there's going to be tons of warm receptions, and we know that, when they do the player announcements and the introductions, that, there's so many fan favorites, since, you've got the Hart Trophy winner, you've got the seasons that Kyle Connor and Mark Scheifele had, that Josh Morrissey had. I'm sitting here wondering, do you pull like to borrow from the place where he used to play? Do you give him the Michael Jordan treatment and wait until the last person? You're going to just go numerically, or do you wait to the end for number 19, Jonathan Toews?
That's a great question.
And honestly, could you imagine if they do it that way, Huss? Can you imagine the reception leading into, puck drop at the home opener?
For a lot of players, like in a lot of teams, I think there might be some guys on the team that might get sort of bent about that. I don't think that's the case with this group.
That's why I mentioned it.
And for sure. And I had never thought about it until now, but I'll tell you what, I think that would be I hope Balls is listening here. Here's our advice.
I think you might be able to send him a note, Huss. I think he might be getting a few text messages from the comment section.
Yeah, and
right
listen,
now.
I'll tell you what. That'll be. I think that the organization.
And again, not my department, and I'm not suggesting, but I'm just.
But
it's interesting.
Listen, and I think it would be deafening, and then
the building would be shaking, Huss. It would be shaking.
And then once it's all done, then it's time to get out there and produce. Ruicki and I were talking about this yesterday, but I'll ask you the same thing. What do you think? Like, what are your expectations for Jonathan Toews this year? And then, like what's realistic? And then, what is the ceiling? Like, what if everything pops in a very positive way? Like, where are we at? Like, when you think about what's possible for Jonathan Toews realistic, and then that ceiling, that high end. Where are you at?
I mean, this is one of the mailbag questions that Mike McIntyre and I dealt with on the weekend, Huss, and I went 15 goals, 50 points, and yeah, I mean that it's a high number for sure for some. Mike, I think, said 55, but honestly, when it comes to ceilings, Huss, I mean, it's very hard to gauge. I mean, this is a guy who I think once had 81 points in the NHL, so. Can he hit 80? I
and it wasn't that long ago,
I wouldn't want to say that he couldn't do it. Let's just put it that way in terms of ceiling. But, I mean, that's not what I'm expecting given the health challenges. But I easily could see him eclipsing 50 points comfortably. Now, I don't know what that number is, if that means it's 60 or 80. But 50 is sort of just a number. It's a round number. It's a number that is difficult to get, even if when you're playing a lot of minutes. And, never mind the fact he hasn't played for 2 years. But I'm also very much of the belief that the 2 years off means 2 years where there was no wear and tear on an elite level athlete. And that can be a dangerous thing on the other side of the equation. And again, I always reference the Crosby example after the multiple concussions in a short amount of time. But again, he was, I think, in his mid-20s, not in his, not late 30s, mid to late 30s. But again, I've said this from the very beginning. I expect him to be a very impactful player. His value to the Jets will stretch well beyond the boxcar statistics. His leadership, his will to win, and all of those things are going to be more valuable on the intangible side. But I also still expect him to eventually grow into a second line center type of role and be an impactful and productive player. So again, I say 50 points, but I could easily see him with 20 goals if things are popping for him and he stays healthy. Now, again, 50 plus means he's going to have to probably play 70, 72 to 78 games. But again, that's up to, we'll see how everything transpires. But again, I expect him to be a productive player. And I also expect him to be someone whose value obviously stretches well beyond just the sheer numbers.
Oh my God. I was just looking back at some of these comments in the chat today. By the way, shout out to Reem checking in on the crew. Yes, we've got a good setup here, Remus. I'm looking forward to spending some time with you next week, and I will tell you, food amazing here at Breezy Bed, which you will be a big fan of. While we're talking about Taves and what is possible for him, I think hand in hand, assuming that he starts the season and plays on that second line, I'm not sure that there's a more important player this year for the Jets than Cole Perfetti, in that, he showed a ton of growth last year. For sure. With the loss of Nikolai Ehlers and the huge question mark as to what you've got in Gus Nyquist. Yep. I mean, it could be great, it could be not great, and you could be changing. The one thing that is that Perfetti's going to have a big-time opportunity both on that second line. I wouldn't even be surprised if he is the guy that fills in for Ehlers and gets that spot on PP1 and limits Taves' minutes somewhat. But when it comes to offense, I mean, obviously you're talked about Jonathan Taves, and we'll see what we get in there. Gus Nyquist, I would say, is for different reasons in a similar category. Right. And then there's Cole Perfetti going into a contract year, looking to build off what he did last season. And listen, there's not going to be any questions about opportunity or ice time or anything like that for Cole Perfetti. I mean, it is there waiting for him. And, with another year, like another positive season and a move forward, not only could he do himself and his agent a lot of favors, but I frankly think the Jets are going to need that if they want to be in the same neighborhood that they were last year.
Well, Huss, I mean, a lot of people are asking, how do you replace the production? We've said before, it's going to be a cumulative effect, but the one player who needs to level up the most in order to mitigate the loss of Ehlers is Cole Perfetti. Whether that means he becomes a 26 to 30 goal scorer, we'll see. But he's the type of guy that can have that offensive impact, right? We saw him take a huge progression last year, but now he's got to take that next step to level up. And again, a lot of the other stuff is going to come from other players just adding to their own totals. But for Perfetti, he is going to be the player who takes the biggest jump offensively. Now, is he a point-a-game player next year? That's asking a lot, but I do think that Perfetti will be 25, 65 plus. And I mean, Ehlers Cole Perfetti, let's just put it this way. I said for years I thought Ehlers could easily be a 30-goal guy. He still hasn't hit that number yet. Maybe he does this year. I think that Cole Perfetti is the type of player that should be in the 26 to 30 range this year, Huss. Again, if he gets that PP1 time or shared time in that role, 30 is not out of the question for Perfetti. And if he hits 30, then the power play won't have a massive drop-off, and the offense won't dip dramatically, even though they are without Ehlers.
I'll be honest. I think, again,
because the guy can shoot it, right? That's the one thing. We always talk about his passing, his vision, all of those things. The guy's got a nose for the moment, like we saw in the Manitoba Miracle, and he's a guy that can really shoot the puck, even though he's also a great distributor.
Yeah, I know everyone expects it. Listen, I think just natural progression. I mean, it's tough to go back-to-back as the number one team in the league. It's tough to go back-to-back as the number one power play in the league, and I'm not sure anyone is expecting that. But I will say this, despite being such different players, Perfetti is a guy that's made for taking advantage of the time and space with the man advantage. And I think it'll look different and might force some guys to do a few different things. I'm actually really bullish on his chances of making the Winnipeg Jet power play very, very effective, albeit maybe in different ways than Ehlers did with what he brought to the game.
Yeah, and we know that he's the guy that got first opportunity during the time when Ehlers was out of the lineup in that pop position in the slot. Some folks like to call it the bumper, but Davis Payne prefers pop position. So he's smart enough to play in that role. He's dangerous enough to have a one-time threat off the wall if Mark Scheifele gets it, to be a one-time threat in the slot. Or if you go down low to Velarde pops it to the slot, one-timer there. So Jonathan Toews has also played that role in the past, but like you mentioned, Huss, I mean, the managing of the minutes will be interesting to monitor, and whether that means maybe you just start Toews in the second unit and you have Perfetti get his chance at the first unit right away. I think that Perfetti will also benefit greatly. We know the relationship he's forged with Mark Scheifele in terms of those, two hockey minds that love talking about hockey and the intricacies behind it. I think he'll really benefit from being around Jonathan Toews. And like I mentioned, I think those guys will be line mates. And I think Cole's a sponge. He's the kind of guy that will really flourish playing alongside Toews. That's why I think that I'm bullish on the numbers for him and to see his role continue to expand.
It really is going to be interesting, Ken. I mean, I think there's, and we've talked about it all summer, really from the last season when we thought that this could be possible, the tangible and intangible benefits to the Jets of Jonathan Toews. And we're about a month away from seeing the show get going. Hey, Ryan Hart's going to join me in just a minute here. Before we go, excited for the Open next week?
Yeah, I mean, it's one of the things I won't be around as often because I'll be up at Clear Lake playing in the Tamarack, but it's something that I keep my eye on. It's an event that I've loved covering over the years, and I had a chance to play Breezy, as I told you, and the course is in just tremendous shape.
I hope you're hitting it straight.
And I was, yes. I was just mentioning to Corey Johnson, the GM, that I was lucky enough to only be in the rough, the deep, deep rough one time on the 9th hole, and managed to chip my way out to the front of the green. But man, just keep it in the short stuff is I'm not one to give advice to pro golfers. They're the ones giving advice to me, Huss. But keep it straight, keep it in the fairway, and it's going to be a fantastic event coming up here, and you'll dig into it with Ryan. But the course is super excited to be hosting. I know this is part of the rotation. First time since I think '93 that they're hosting. The course has really made some dramatic improvements in the time since. They've invested a lot of money and time. Craig McLeod doing just an incredible job with his staff here, Huss, and the maintenance staff. And I think it's going to be great for them to have it on display. It's a super exciting time for Braxton Kuntz to be playing. He's in the U.S. Amateur today. Next week he'll play his first pro tournament on his home course. And again, is there some Robbie McMillan magic out there like we saw at Pine Ridge? Who knows?
You imagine?
But I think that Braxton is a guy that's sniffed around the cut the last 2 years and been really close. He's super motivated to make the cut, and if he does, Huss, we've seen the weekends with McMillan at Pine Ridge. There will be a massive following if Braxton can make the weekend here. And I think it just will amplify what is already a fantastic event to have a local guy like that be in the mix and potentially, just charging towards his goal as he starts this journey as a professional golfer.
I'm looking forward to hooking up with Brax and Eric Comrie and more. We're going to start our coverage from the Manitoba Open here next Tuesday. The big pro-am with a lot of the who's who. You can come out and rub some shoulders with some of the big movers and shakers, Ken. And then the big boys, the pros, the PGA Tour Americas folks come by and join us at Thursday, Friday. And, we'll talk about this with Ryan coming up. There's some really neat features that they put together for this event, returning to Breezy for the first time in a long time. Enjoy the rest of your day. And may the countries you visit tonight take care of you warmly and with great hospitality, Ken.
Yes, thank you, Andrew. And yes, next week we'll be tuning in live while you're here from Clear Lake, from the Tamarack. Had a chance also to play 9 holes at my home course, Oakview Golf and Country Club, where it all began as a teenager. Huss.
Is that in Altona?
It is in Gretna, technically,
Gretna,
yes,
okay.
but in between Gretna and Altona. So
is it a niner or
niner? Beautiful niner.
Okay.
Course is in fantastic shape. It's kind of one of the annual pilgrimage we play with our high school phys ed teacher and volleyball and basketball coach Terry Brown. So we got out there and banged it around.
Of course you do. And let me guess, the entire time was just stories of Ken as a grade 11.
No.
Remember that goal you scored for the Winkler Flyers, and then you came out for the volleyball team 2 hours later and led us to the Southern Manitoba Regionals.
There were some great times, Huss. There's no doubt. The W.C. Miller Aces days were not prominent in the conversation, but it was a great time in my life for sure. Helped pave the way to a lot of fun events.
Always fun having you on the show, pal. Even better when we're doing it in person. Good luck in the Tamarack. We're going to be we're going to really be focusing on the real golfers here, but I'll tell you what. We all know the WST. We got one horse. We got one horse in the race out of Clear Lake next week, and it's you. So good luck.
Thanks, buddy. I'm going to do my best here. I'm going to do my best.
All right. Ryan Hart's going to join me right here from BZ in a few minutes, and Jeff Fineberg coming up as well in just a bit. Tomorrow, told you, Princess Auto Stadium is going to be packed again tomorrow night. If you want a pair of tickets, we've got a couple. You send me a DM on Instagram or X at Hustlerama with your email address so I can send you the tickets and your contact info. I'll announce a winner at the end of yesterday's show and send those tickets out. Thanks again to Schnitzy and to Scott Westman for making that happen. Of course, Princess Auto is the proud sponsor, the home of the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, where we'll all be tomorrow night, Princess Auto Stadium. Headquartered and founded right here in the Peg. Princess Auto is now coast to coast, but with 3 locations to serve you here in Winnipeg, with the best deals on the most unique assortment of tools and equipment around. Everything you need to complete the projects on your list or start something new is at Princess Auto. So pop by and see them in store or shop online 24/7, 365 over at princessauto.com. I mentioned this yesterday, but I'm going to say it again because I'm so damn happy for our friends out at Aikens Lake Wilderness Lodge. The wait is over. The rains have come. The fire danger has diminished. And now, for the first time in a month, guests are back at Aikens Lake Wilderness Lodge. I got a great text from Pitt, and although he won't be listening today, I should give a shout-out to Jeff Caprowi, who I know is a big WSTer, rookie fisherman. He's on the water today with my guy Kieran, who was our guide. So hope he's having a great time. And listen, just to everyone there that's worked so hard to save the facilities, that if you've ever been there, could not be replicated and rebuilt. I mean, they built a mill there and logged everything and built these beautiful cabins. I mean, thank God it was all saved. Now they're back to work, though. And obviously this has been a real tough period of time having no customers for a month. So if you are thinking about maybe squeezing an incredible world-class fishing trip in before the end of the season, go to aikenslake.com. Let them know that you heard about it on Winnipeg Sports Talk. Pitt will hook you up with the 10% discount and get you set up to go. And slay some big ones, and enjoy the amazing, incredible hospitality of the Aikens team. AikensLake.com. And again, Aikens Lake on all of your social platforms if you want to see the return and everything else going on. And now listen, I know Ken was dressed down today, but anyone that's seen him, at a game knows that Ken is a sharp-dressed man. All the media guys, let's face it, players and whatnot, where they get their stuff. F Apparel at 190 Smith Street downtown. So, fellas, if you are looking ahead to the fall and realize you need to up your menswear game, whether it be for events, whether it be for work, simply go down to F Apparel, 190 Smith Street downtown. They got you covered with custom suits starting at $400. Chinos, golf pants, custom shirts, both tucked and untucked styles, and an incredible selection of menswear accessories. If you are getting married or are in a wedding party, talk to the fellas at F about a special discount for the wedding party when you get your suits at F Apparel. All right, we're going to bring Ryan Hart in here in just a second. I just have to get to some fan feedback right now from Fans First while we wait for Ryan to get in here. There's a lot of talk about Jonathan Taves. A few mentions on our Dream Jets foursome and the players that you were getting. Dom Zappia asking, does JT get an A? Put it this way, I'm not sure that he will. He certainly doesn't need one, but it is it's an interesting thought. I mean, he will be essentially a captain the second that he steps in. You mentioned JT and his pedigree doesn't come back if he's not ready. He's not going to embarrass himself. And let's see here a little bit more. Farside Bruce saying the Bombers will be fortunate to win this game. 6-point favorites. I think they're still getting a couple reputation points baked into those. So we'll see. And Rob Mahoney. Shout out to Rob. This might be the best comment we've had, although T. Will had a zinger earlier. Ken's in pretty good shape. I think he'll take Rennie in the cage match when their partnership blows up. Wouldn't that be something? Ken versus Ren in a steel cage. Dare to dream right now. Of course, fan feedback's brought to you by Fans First, your number one spot for buying and selling Winnipeg tickets on the resale market with no added fees. When you go to Fans First, what you see is what you pay, and that's it. Nothing after the fact like so many other resale sites. So get on over there today. And, hey, Bomber tickets on Fans First as well. You just got to click CFL and Bombers. You'll see what's available for the game because there ain't nothing else available for the game if you're outside of looking at a couple of the last single tickets that are available. Fans First, by fans, for fans, no fees. Check out the site today at fansfirst.ca. Well, isn't this a treat? Back in his hometown of Winnipeg, helping out with the Manitoba Open after putting on an incredible President's Cup in Montreal, working with the PGA Tour, Ryan Hart is back. Speaking of President's Cup, you still got a few of these in the tickle trunk, eh?
Hard to get rid of them. But, it saves on laundry days, Huss.
Great to see you, pal. How's things?
It's good. It's good. I think the last time I saw you, you were on the patio of the media center at Royal Montreal.
What a time that was.
It was fun.
Honestly, that was fun. I mean, you were probably working 22 hours a day. How much sleep did you get through that whole tournament? Seriously,
probably 3 to 5 hours a night.
Okay.
Somewhere around there.
More like what I thought. I mean, for folks that I'm sure a lot of people saw it, and obviously I did some fun content from there showing everything that happened, but I mean, the scope of that event was huge, phenomenal. And I mean, for anyone that was there, I mean, what a treat to see. And listen, I love golf. I'm I'll be here fired up for the Manitoba Open next year. But having now been to a couple Ryder Cups and a President's Cup, I mean, I will argue, even having been to a major championship, I mean, the unique nature of those team events is just so special, and the emotion, the atmosphere, totally different from anything else. And I got to tell you that that event that you put on was absolutely world class, and I think Canadian golf fans are hoping that at some point we'll have something else like that, but it might be a long, long time. I mean, this was, listen, this event goes all around the world, and that was our turn. But you had some time to decompress since then?
I have. It was a full team effort. I mean, we had 28 people working night and day for 4 years on it, and then you bring in the broader team, and during tournament week, there's probably 400 people working on it, not including the broadcast team, which would be another 300 plus. So, full team effort. And the city of Montreal was just unreal to be able to get ingratiated into that city for 4 years. We worked extremely closely with Group CH, the Montreal Canadiens, and they were very, they opened their arms and welcomed us in and taught us about the culture. And it was rewarding for sure. I mean, standing there on the first tee on Thursday, and when they're singing "Oh Canada" and the first tee is going nuts. I mean, I'm not going to lie, it got a little emotional, and I think they were looking around. There was a lot of people sitting there going, "Okay, this is Canadian pride at its finest."
Hey, listen, I mean, I want to talk about the Open, but we talked about this, and I mentioned, hey, our pal Ryan Hart, who I've known forever, now doing these things. Just fill people in on how you even got into the golf space with MF1 in the tournament here, which of course is now the Manitoba Open, and how that led to the Valero, the Players, the President's Cup, and then back here to Breezy this week.
Honestly, this is funny. All things considered, timing. It all started with Jonathan Toews. We started here with the Four Kids Charity Classic. The year before we did it with Jonathan. I believe that was 2009. And we did the event here, Breezy first golf event. It was a charity event. Colin Smith from Sleeman, who you know well, he and I and a few people put that together. And then the next year, Rob McMillan was he was running the old Players Cup / Manitoba Open then, and they were looking for a charity element to it. And we said, hey, we've got this Four Kids idea. And through MF1, Jonathan's mom was a client of ours, and we needed a little bit more gravitas to make a little bit more money or give a little bit more money back to charity. And Jonathan, I remember we flew out to Calgary, and we met him out in Calgary after he played the Flames, and he said, yeah, sure, I'm in. We took some promo shots and we did the Jonathan Toews Four Kids Charity Classic, and fortunate enough, he won the Stanley Cup in the Conn Smythe that year, so he brought it out to the event.
Timing is everything.
Yeah, no kidding. It was pure luck that he even got it that day too. Joe Aiello, funny enough, our good friend who just walked by, he was there helping us MC that day. And it all started from there, and then really that turned into when Rob moved on to Titleist. The old Canadian Tour we were doing the marketing for them. They said, would you be interested in doing it? And so we did it for, I guess, from 2011 to 2017, and then throughout that time got to know the tour, and it became PGA Tour Canada, and the rest, as they say, is history. But it was a good run. And we wrapped it up post President's Cup. I can't speak today. And yeah, now exciting things ahead. We'll be able to let you know what's coming down the pipe in about a week or so.
I'm looking forward to that. Valero was the first tour gig.
One of the events I went to, my first gig with the tour actually was Jay Monahan wanted more business people at the tour. And so my first gig actually was traveling around to all the different events and working with them on their business plans, their marketing plans, and things like that. So I was on the road 223 days my first year, just going event to event across basically all three major tours. And then we settled in at the Players Championship. That would have been 2018, the year Webb Simpson won. And then Rory McIlroy was my first full year winner.
The funny thing is that, while some things like the Jonathan Toews thing happened that ended up being incredibly fortunate timing for you, the timing of your time with the Players was somewhat unfortunate timing. Maybe the most incredible thing. Like, was that the first event that really got bit by COVID? I mean,
NBA,
played the first round. So that was a little bit after that?
So basically, I remember the week like it was yesterday. It was honestly, the Tuesday was the first time I ever thought I might get fired from the PGA Tour, because we always did this Military Appreciation Day concert on Tuesday, and it was country forever. Like, pick a country act you could think of, and they probably played on 17. Mm-hmm. And we were trying to get a new audience. And so we took this chance, and I said, let's get the Chainsmokers.
Chainsmokers,
Let's throw the
yes.
Chainsmokers on 17. And so we had 30,000 people wrapped around the 17th hole of TPC Sawgrass 2 days before the world shuts down for COVID. and I'm standing there, and I see former Commissioner Tim Fincham dancing with his wife. And I'm like, okay, I think I've got job security for a little bit longer anyway. And then we got through that. And then I believe it was President Trump at the time had a speech on the Wednesday. We thought, okay, got through those regulations. And then the whole Rudy Gobert NBA thing happened that night. And then we ended up literally, in a boardroom for pretty much the next 24 hours saying, okay, we can put this event on we had all these scenarios. Can we do this with 100 people? Can we do it with 200 people? Like, what do we really need to operate this? And then finally it came, I'll never forget, Laura Neal, who's the senior vice president of communications with the tour. She was in the boardroom and she wrote on the whiteboard in front of everybody, what would the average fan expect us to do? And Commissioner Monahan basically said, why didn't you write that about 6 hours ago when we could have got some sleep? So it was just, we're shutting the thing down. So that was the busiest Thursday in the history of the Players' Championship because it was the only day we were playing.
No doubt about it. I have friends that still give Hideki the championship for having the lead after.
Well, funny story. So we do a caddy contest on Wednesday where the caddies all get to hit closest to the hole on Wednesday on 17. And so the only trophy handed out that week was for the caddy competition on Wednesday. So it was JT Poston's caddy, Aaron Fleener. And he basically took over his own social media account because it was the only trophy handed out. He won the Players' Championship that year. And so we kind of played it up the next year, and we picked him up at the airport like he was the champion. We escorted him, and we actually gave him the champion's parking stall from the previous year for the 2021 Players.
Caddies don't get enough respect, Hart. I'm glad you did that for him. Let's get to this week. This is... No, obviously, we've worked with Breezy. We know Corey and the incredible people here for many years.
Yeah.
They have done so much work on the golf course, on the facility here.
Mm-hmm.
You can really feel the excitement around the course, showing it off to the province. Great way they're setting up with 5 of our best, kind of rotating over the course of the next 5 years. But holy smokes, things are shaping up to be a great, great week here at Breezy. Starting with the Pro-Am, of course, on Wednesday, and then the tournament. And, just getting some of the details of what they've set up. I'm really taking this to another level. I mean, all kids under 18, free, parking, like just adjacent to the course down the road with shuttles. And you're going to have 6-seater golf carts ripping people. It's like a minute 30 from your car right to the gates. And it goes without saying, the talent on this tour is... I mean, the golfers, there are so many players at this elite level. And as we're going to see with last year with Shipley and those guys making the move, I mean, there will be players that are right now in PGA Tour Canada that we'll be seeing in tour events next year.
100%. And, and that's been so fun to come back and see it. And I think Brennan and Corey have done an awesome job in really taking it to the next level. The talent is there. And I try to tell people this when I first went to the PGA Tour. My first event that I went to was the Arnold Palmer Invitational, and I walk out onto the range, and CT Pan, who won at Pine Ridge in 2016, I think, he won at Pine Ridge, and I'm walking out on the driving range, and I hear this, "Hey, Ryan," and I look at it's his wife, and she's like, "What are you doing here?" I'm like, "What are you doing here?" And she calls CT over, and then Graham Dillette's out there. He goes, "Oh, geez," and then Tony Finau and Joel Damon and whatever, and they all came over and we started talking, and they were talking about the cup party at the King's Head. They were talking about Earls on Maine, the old Earls on Maine. I mean, right away, it's like these traveling nomads, there's a family out there, and they remember their experiences every step of the way. And I think Winnipeggers were so hospitable by nature that they totally remember it, and remember people by name and things of that nature. I mean, you even go back to Mike Weir in 1993 when he played here. I mean, there was a phone call. We made a quick phone call when they were doing a members event here, and I said to Mike the event was going back to Breezy Bend. He remembered hole by hole what he did here. Like, it's insane.
Chipped it out behind the bunker on 4.
Yeah. he's just, it's amazing what they remember, where they go along the way. So yeah, I mean, back to CT Pan. I mean, he wins, and 2 years later he's playing in the President's Cup in Australia. So I mean, these guys are that good and that close. And I mean, I think if you look at Michael Brennan, the guy that I was just reading about, leading this tour right now, kid from Wake Forest, I mean, just a stud. I mean, finished well in the Latin swing. Now he's doing it again.
Ryan Hart's with us here live at Breezy. The Manitoba Open gets going next week. You know, it is so cool, to see. I was at the Canadian Open this year out at Osprey, and
So was I.
the rink hole is back out, and I'm thinking that reminds me of the Ridge back when you were doing it. But listen, we're putting a bit of a Canadian stamp on this, and I'll tell you what, we're gonna have a rink hole on 7, the newly redone 7. So that's going to be fascinating to see how that is. And considering it's a 132-yard par 3, I mean, we could have some action with these guys here. I wouldn't be surprised if we get a hole in one at some point.
Oh yeah.
Listen, it's a festive event. I mean, we've got beer gardens at 9 and 18. And then obviously some real challenging holes to kind of show off the changes that they've made. But I think it's safe to say, with the talent on this tour, the course record of 62, of course, held by Manitoba golf legend Garth Collings, and that 62 was posted like more than 20 years ago, I believe. And then Stuart Henley and Kelly Gibson from the 90s, the last time that this tournament was out here. There's going to be some fireworks, I think, on this course next week. And I would say both on the course and probably in some of the hospitality areas for Manitoba golf fans.
Absolutely. I mean, hey, I'm looking forward to it. I don't often get to be a fan. So to be able to come out and get out there near 7 where they've got a great crossroads there. And I think, I've said this to anybody who's asked me about this event being at Breezy, is as a fan, you go out to the shack right behind 7, you got 7, you got 15 green, 16 tee, 8 tee. Like, it's all right there. You don't really have to go anywhere else. And then you follow them back into 18. So I think from a fan perspective, it's a great course to be able to see a lot in very small areas. But I think you're right. Like, there's going to be fireworks for sure. Craig has done an unbelievable job setting up this course, but these guys are just that good. I mean, you just mentioned TPC Osprey Valley is, what was it? 18 under won the Canadian Open, and 23 under was the PGA Tour America's winning score there. Yeah. So, I mean, these guys are fearless. I mean, they're going at it. And I think that someone said to me the other day, it's going to be 25 under, whatever. And I'm like, what's wrong with that? That to me is entertaining. I mean, Dustin Johnson won in Boston a few years back at 31 under par. We weren't all, throwing in the towel at that. It was Dustin Johnson. So I think the guys are just so good now, and it's so hard to move up, that they are taking more risks with the shots that they're hitting, and it makes it more fun.
Folks, as I said, we'll be here at Breezy starting on Tuesday. And we'll look forward to getting Braxton Kuntz, who's going to be making his debut at his home course, 4-time Manitoba Amateur, finished 3rd in the Canadian Am, is playing at the USAM at the Olympic Club as we speak right now. Then coming back, and of course Eric Connery will be in it, so you'll be around all next week, I'm sure.
Yeah, we'll find a frosty beverage together at some point on the patio, maybe catch up some golf.
I look forward to it. Well, listen, Ryan, congratulations on everything.
Thank you.
Very much looking forward to chatting with you in the future, and great to see you here helping out with all your experience on what should be an amazing Open here at Breezy starting next week.
Working on the Volunteer of the Year award. That's what I'm going for this year.
Hey, right on. You've won all the other ones, so it's good stuff.
Thanks buddy.
Again, dude.
Appreciate it.
All right, we got Fineberg coming up in just a minute. Great to have Ryan on the program with us, and of course, Ryan. It was really cool to talk to him about. I mean, just that Players Championship, being in charge of, like, the biggest gig on the PGA Tour, having to be canceled for COVID after one day. And obviously the President's Cup last year was amazing. Fineberg and I, who's going to join me right now, we're at the President's Cup. We'll hit a little bit of golf, but I want to start getting into some NFL talk with Jeff, and we'll do that right away. Of course, NFL season is just around the corner, and that means it's time to head to Royal Sports and get geared up for the upcoming season. All the new sideline gear and wear coming for NFL teams right now. Your favorite ones should be in stock. And hey, National Hockey League fans, NHL draft caps are in a little later than they expected, but all there. So lots of new merch. You can get your Jets jerseys for the upcoming season, Bomber gear, many exclusives you won't find anywhere else at Royal Sports before the game tomorrow. And there's still time to jump on the soccer, softball, baseball, tennis, running, bikes, you name it, and get the most out of your Manitoba sport summer. The number one sports store on the prairies, maybe Canada for that matter, to be perfectly honest. Royal Sports, 750 Pembina Highway. Follow them on Instagram at Royal Sports Winnipeg for the latest merchandise drops and sale information. Jays are back at it tonight. We will look ahead to tonight's game in the Cool Bet lines a little bit later on. But if you're looking for a great spot to watch that, maybe you don't have tickets for the Bomber game on Thursday, Boston Pizza is the place to do that. Pop by your local BP Sports Bar to take in the big game and check out all the new treats on their summer menu, including those cherry cola beef sliders. You can mix it in with some ice cold schooners, world famous BP wings, gourmet pizzas, and more. Boston Pizza, you know it well. Hey, staying at home, you can always get it hot and fresh to your door by ordering online at bostonpizza.com. All right, Jeff's ready to go. First up, let's give a big cheers to our friends at Winnipeg's favorite local brewery, Little Brown Jug.
You train day in and day out, learning new techniques, approaching new concepts, and living out the thrill of achieving your goals. Building a craft beer is no different. While you spend your hours on the ice, we spend ours here, brewing our trademark beer. Again, and again. Here's to pushing the status quo and challenging ourselves to build something memorable. 1919 by Little Brown Jug.
All right, let's get back to business and welcome in my pal, Jeff Fineberg, out in the East, rocking the Jays lid before this Cubbies Jays series tonight. Fineberg, what's good, man? How are you?
I'm doing well, Huss. You hear me?
I hear you very well. It's too bad we couldn't do this in person. One place that you love being is golf courses, and we are here at Breezy getting ready for next week's Manitoba Open. But I can't help but notice your lid today. I don't want to get to some NFL and golf, but how fired up are you and the rest of the Lokes about what's going on with the Birds these days? What a couple months they've had. And I got to tell you, that game on Sunday against the Dodgers was one of the most epic regular season games I can remember. Vibes are high in the 6, aren't they?
Oh, yeah. If the season goes to plan, there's a chapter on the DVD for Mason Fluharty's 2 outs on Sunday, Huss. I'm off to the ball game tonight, so I'm super hyped about that. Game 120, a 162. You just, at this point, we just want to keep knocking them off, Huss. Knocking them off. The American League, still feels wide open. So anyone who gets in, it's easy to make a case how they're just as good as the Jays or the Tigers or anyone on top. Seattle's a freight train right now, but, to just be able to avoid a first-round matchup and just win that division, that's what we're praying for through September, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, listen, that is the goal. And I mean, it has to be right now. Before it was, can they make the playoffs? Can they win a playoff game? Well, they've now put themselves in a position where they can avoid that wild card round entirely. If they're one of the top 2 teams that win their division, they're on top of the AL right now. And, with the pending insertion of Shane Bieber and getting Springer back, who's had an amazing season, I mean, I would say that the expectations should be high. One thing that I'll ask you just quickly before we pivot from the Jays, we know Vladdy has really turned it around, is playing some great baseball, and of course has his contract. Bo doesn't. What do you think the chances are that Bo is back next year? Or is this just an ultimate guy having a monster season in a contract year? And listen, they'll take it. A great run with Bo and the Blue Jays, hopefully finishing it off with a special season, but probably not in the mix beyond the season.
My opinion on this one is probably not very popular, but let's just, nothing's going to happen now. He's going to get a ride it out, and he's going to get a lot of money. You saw what Corey Seager gave Texas a few years ago. Maybe the Jays would be in on it. We shall see. It's not really being talked about, Huss. I'll be honest. It's kind of on the afterburner. People, he's playing almost too well that it's would be tough to engage, and the team is firing, and Mark Shapiro, Ross Atkins don't have contracts for next year, and that's sort of been talked about. It seems like both parties really want it to happen. I'd be pretty shocked if it doesn't happen. I'd be honest, to me, the only way like Mark Shapiro isn't back with the Jays is if they bump Keith Pelly out of MLSE and Edward Rogers lets him run the whole thing. I mean, that's what I think Mark Shapiro's future is. But for now, let's just hope, because yes, they can get a first round bye, but like the Bo Vladdy era has yet to win a playoff game. I was at a game in that Mariners series. I was at a game in that Twins. No, the Twins series was away, but a depressing Mariners series at that Rogers Center. And we still get, the wrong kind of chills, the reverse bat flip chills from that one.
Well, listen, the vibes are so high right now. Looking forward to this series against the Cubs, who have a heck of a ball team themselves, although they happen to be in the division with the Milwaukee Brewers, who simply refuse to lose anymore.
And I'm super fired up. Like you said, like everyone's fired up when the ball team is good. Summer, I don't want to say summer goes by faster, but like there's just something to look forward to at the end of each day. Obviously, there's a lot of ball games. You're not going to be able to catch them all. But it's been a hot summer, and I know at the end of each day, there's like this very likable, competitive ball team to go to watch. I'm taking my daughter down tonight. We're going to, play around where we had our live show that you were at last month, which I think was the last time we spoke. And I'm just looking forward to a great night and a great game down at the ballpark.
Oh, my God, that live show you guys did was so fun. You guys should go check it out on the Mayo Media Network. Some other great stuff lately. The Custies are there. I actually was catching up on the Custies on the weekend, and I heard the conversation about the suite that we had with the Coolbet guys and how I was disappointed that Tim wasn't there. And then Tim said, well, he just wouldn't have felt right going up and eating from the beautiful spread that they put on. You can tell Tim, I know he's a shy guy. I would have been happy to be his gopher to make sure that he was taken care of. But yeah, Mayo Media Network, and of course you and the boys are back. Yeah. Spread picks are back because the NFL is back, and I gotta say, dude, I had Hacksaw on Friday, as we often do. We gotta get a little bit of a trip around the league with the NFL Notebook. And you know me, I'm a Chiefs guy. We got a great rivalry, Chargers. I mean, all the teams in the AFC West. I felt sick for you and the team. I don't know what is going on. Every year it seems to be some sort of bad lightning with the Chargers. But the loss of Rashawn Slater, I mean, thank God the guy just signed his contract. I mean, we know how those sort of things can go if guys don't have security. How are you doing it? I mean, how big of a blow is this to a Charger team that did have pretty high hopes to, take a step up and really challenge the Chiefs and Broncos at the top of that division?
Yeah, it's a crushing blow, Huss. Rashawn Slater is like a top 5, and that's probably being conservative.
For sure, probably 3.
Offensive tackle in the game. It was like when you were like the Chargers, man. They drafted that running back, and I know they got Ladd McConkey last year, but where are the playmakers? Like, there's just a lack of offense, a lack of playmakers. You got to score. And, it's hard not to feel that way, not to, preach for fantasy bros. But you can just sort of sit there and be like, Huss, they got Joe Alt and Rashawn Slater. They signed Mekhi Becton. I mean, Justin Herbert, there'll be a lot of snaps where it is like a fortress. And it doesn't matter who's out there, someone's going to get open. I mean, that was the strength of the team. If it's a close game, they can run behind Alt and Becton, and think of those two monsters. And Rashawn taking care of the blind side. That was the strength, Huss. The season will be fine, but, ceiling, done. As far as I'm concerned, over. They'll be competitive. Jim Harbaugh only knows competition, and the players will thrive on that competition. But no, it just doesn't. Nothing seems possible anymore. And they're fortunate. They have Joe Alt. He will move over to the left side, House. He'll move over. That's what's
he'll play left
happen.
Tackle. Yeah.
Yeah, he played left tackle at Notre Dame. They don't have a better option.
Pretty nice backup plan to have.
Yeah. Listen, that was okay. So truly, in hindsight, we lost a right tackle because I think we will get top 10 play from Joe Alt. I mean, you saw what he did. Like, he looked like he was a 10-year veteran last year. And now, our Trey Pipkins, longtime Charger, he's just going to have to play right tackle. But you know how it is, Huss. You only got like so many Jenga bricks, and you just pulled out like a huge one. And the NFL in the season, it's unrelenting. And there will be more. So I truly mean it when it felt like I had been like punched in the solar plex, and like then I'd forget about it. Then like hours later, I'm reminded of it, and like it felt like I get punched in the solar plex again. I think a lot of your listeners are loyal, hardcore sports fans, so they'll like they know the feeling. We all know the feeling. And it's a bad injury, Huss. It's my injury. I'm bragging. I have ruptured my patella. It's not fun. And it's not like an ACL, like where it is bing bong bing. Like it's just like it's a grueling rehab. Not to say you can't recover from it, but it is not like the, square peg into square hole sort of situation. So it's a bad one. Yeah, I had a lot of words on it, but the feelings are not good.
Yeah, listen, I'm sorry about the proverbial shot to the solar plexus again. You probably didn't need that. Obviously, every time you come on, you get tons of love from the chat. I have to admit, is that no? That's probably Antonio Gates over your right shoulder, right?
Yeah.
You just went in. How was the trip down to Canton for? You've done that a couple times. You went for LT and now for Gates.
Yes, and I would honestly recommend Huss. Anyone doing it, if there's like a player they love or the team they love, and one of their favorite players is going in, it's kind of like an NFL Comic-Con. I've never been to a Comic-Con. I don't go to like these comic card expo things, but like just in sort of like trying to figure out what it's like on the ground, that's what it's like. And in a personal like Chargers way, there are just so many guys from like a past eras of ball. And me, Huss, like I get in a good spot, and I get it, and I know the lay of the land because I've been before. I get a couple minutes with ownership. I harassed Mark Davis about the conflict of interest
from Spanos.
Pardon?
Didn't you get a follow from Spanos?
Yes. Well, that was after Ladanian. Like John Spanos, head of player development. Like, listen, his dad owns the team. Nice investment by Grandpa. But he's a golf enthusiast. That was Cameron Young on that weekend, so I made my small talk with him because he's a Demon Deacon. But yeah, and of course, because it was Ladanian, Philip was there, and I had gotten word that Philip, I didn't see Philip all day, and then like a team photographer that I'd seen from like a behind the scenes thing on Chargers web on their website like last year. I'm like, where's Philip? He's like, he's in a suite. So I knew he'd be coming down, and then I'm like, okay, this is where the elevators come down, and sort of made half my day like just waiting for Philip. But that's why I went. I'm not gonna lie, Huss.
Hey, I'm jealous. That was it looked a lot of fun, and
but I mean it. Like Jared Allen got in the Hall of Fame, obviously a Chief, and like there was probably around me so many like mid 2000s Vikings that I just like didn't recognize. You know what I mean? Like the fun I had with like the Chargers, I have no doubt it was happening for Jared Allen's teammates as well. But I don't know. I don't recognize the guys played defense with. I can recognize like our old offensive linemen and some of the old gang. So yeah, I had a blast. I truly had a lot of fun. I don't anticipate doing it again anytime soon.
Well, what about when you'll be there when Rivers goes in?
Yeah, but let's be honest. Like, I think one day he will get in. He's such a good guy. The numbers stand. But if it's like, if they want to have true Hall of Fame standards, I don't think Philip Rivers should be there. Now, the NHL is the biggest joke, right? Like, they're the Hall of Very Good. Hall of Good. Not even very good. The NHL is like Hall of, like, really good. Like, baseball has held the line pretty good. Football's gotten a little slippery, but they're trying to hold the line back, Huss. It's a very small class this year.
I thought so too. And, we are coming out of an era where stats were so inflated so many guys haven't. You actually do make a pretty good point on that. As
I
far as
hope he
next
does,
season,
but yeah, I hope he does, but we'll see. I think he might, but it might be like a really long wait, just because. And then 1 year they'll be like, yeah, Philip. Like I think history
We
will
gotta
be
bring
kind
him
to
in.
Philip, right? Don't you agree? History will be kind
for
to
sure. No, for sure. I mean that class was incredible.
Like he
Eli,
couldn't beat
Ben,
Tom Brady.
Rivers.
That's what we're going to hold him against. Could
Yeah,
not
there's a
beating
lot of
Tom
guys.
Brady.
A lot of guys in that category. There's no doubt
Got me
about that.
worked
Hey,
up, Huss. It's got me worked up.
Well, here I'm going to work you up even more because I know you. When we talk AFC West, I have to ask you, what have you thought about the Bill Simmons and the Colin Cowards and
I know where this is
all
going.
of these, all of the talking heads, just giving Mahomes a little bit more to chew on as they rank him below all these guys that he beats every year in playoff time, and says that, he's been passed by Joe Burrow. He's been passed by Josh Allen. As a rival and someone that's going to have to deal with Mr. Mahomes, did that churn your stomach as much as I expected it to?
So, you tout the show that we just dropped where Tim, Pat, and I, give our quarterback rankings, and we all had Mahomes number 1 still. And I could like make the case for like Josh or Lamar on like a given day. But if I like just know I'm going to the playoffs, if I have a team that I know is going to the playoffs, I just want Patrick Mahomes. So he's still my number 1. Despite loving Josh Allen, Bills Mafia down the road, we love him. But yeah, so he's still my number 1. I don't get on board with that. Not going to lie, Huss. I thought you were lobbing one in there for me for all like the love the Broncos are getting. Because Coward's slobbing them up. And like, I can't turn on football talk without people slobbing up the Broncos.
Oh, listen, I mean, Bo Nix had training wheels on last year, and I guess they just think that he's going to be a world-class cyclist the minute he hits the road this year. I'll give them their due. They've got a very good defense. I mean, the defense is legit. Sean Payton knows a thing or two about winning football games, but to just announce the Broncos as having arrived, I think might be a little bit premature, especially considering how much tread on the tires or lack thereof their starting quarterback has.
Yeah, I'm not going to lie. I led you in there like I would, take my swipes. They scare me. It's hard not to be scared. The defense is great. The offensive line is great. And Sean Payton is really good at putting something on the whiteboard and maybe like a not as talented quarterback overplaying themselves and executing Sean Payton's plays. And they've created some playmakers there. So I am worried. I am worried, and I'd always hope that if it was with the Chiefs got dethroned, it would be, 6 Charger fans, holding their scalp. But maybe it is the Broncos, Huss. I'll be honest. I'm scared shitless of them. I introed it like it's all talk, but no, I'm scared.
Well, they're absolutely legit. We remember last year they, the Chiefs had to block a kick on the final play of the game to get that win against them. And listen, they're good, but I just laugh at how it just seems like every year, and this has happened for the last 4 years, where it seems like people, and maybe it's just the era we live in where people are looking for clickbait, but to just sort of say that, Mahomes has been passed by all these guys all of a sudden based on an offseason kind of blows me away. And I do think that team is going to have a real chip on his shoulder after what happened in the Super Bowl, getting absolutely demolished by the Philadelphia Eagles. Who are you high on in the NFC right now? We always focus on the AFC. When you look at the Eagles presumably are the team to beat. How much of a favorite are they, if anything? And who do you think are the biggest threats to them to come out and battle whoever wins the Lamar Hunt Trophy?
Okay, so I'll be perfectly honest. I do think I don't at the moment see the Eagles getting dethroned. But the betting money-making opportunity that I'm about in the NFC, and it's scary because they always let everyone down, Huss. It is the Atlanta Falcons. I'm riding a win total ladder here, 7.5, alts 8.5, 9.5, 10.5. Let me tell you, this was the most, for how dumb and things went wrong there at times, and how bad Kirk Cousins was, 7 second half interceptions, one of the most unlucky teams in the league. Their schedule was supposed to be horrible, and everyone on their schedule for the most part played way above. It was over 20 wins above expected. Even the little things, like because Kirk Cousins' second half interceptions leading the league is debilitating. But opponents hit 31 to 32 field goals against them. 11 of 11 from over 50 yards. This team could not catch a break. They had the smallest 3-and-out rate in the league. Like, they move the ball, they move down the field. Michael Penix has a ceiling. Maybe there's obviously a floor there, but I believe, like, just the luck, how bad luck went against these guys. They're very undervalued, in my opinion. I could see this team being much better, and I'm playing alt win total overs on Atlanta.
You know what else they do have? And it's interesting. I hadn't spent a lot of time thinking about the Falcons, but I have been looking at some training camp stuff, and there's a lot of love for their defense, which has been a really Achilles heel of them in the past. And the other thing that I will say, you have to be ready for anything. And people can say what they want about Kirk Cousins and how the Atlanta Falcons have managed their cap and signing him and then drafting Penix, and now Penix is the starter. You'd be hard-pressed to find a better option at number 2 in the league, and you have to be ready for that in a 17-game season.
100%. And you laid something out there. Like, obviously the defensive concern, but they have been buzzing in camp. And what did they do at the draft, Huss, that most people, self-included, thought was crazy? They traded in late and gave up next year's first rounder. Now, that's concerning for Falcons fans, but in terms of us who are going to bet on them, who just want that defense better this season, what a great move. Thank you. I mean, it's not my problem you won't be picking in the first round next year, but I'm expecting that defense, that pass rush in particular, to be better. I really like Zach Robinson as offensive coordinator. Raheem Morris, some really ugly, coaching incidents last year, and hopefully, he can learn from them. He wasn't a rookie, it wasn't his first time on the job. So that is a concern, but I think Atlanta finally takes a step. And that doesn't mean I think Michael Pitts is any good, but I just think Atlanta takes a step. Big one.
Fineberg, before we go, there's always lots of talk about the NFC North around here, and it is certainly one of the more interesting divisions when you look at the betting odds, with the Lions the favorite after that amazing season they had, but just plus 150. You got the Packers in the 200s, the Vikings in and around 3, and then the Bears. How do you handicap the NFC North right now? Who do you see winning, and is there a surprise team in the mix?
This is sort of one I don't want to make a pick on, and I don't really want to plant a flag anywhere. I still have respect for the Lions. There's this Jordan Love injury stuff. But you go online, Huss, and I don't go into like the For You, and I don't think it's meant for me, but I swear there's this like part of Twitter and a lot of people that I respect, like they tweet all day like JJ McCarthy's the second coming. And no, we love Kevin O'Connell. We love the roster. We love how he's like almost a plug and play situation at QB there. But I'd still like him a bit of a wait to see it. But where I turn on the internet, it seems like it's already been preordained that this is going to be like a superstar quarterback.
You know who they're not saying that about right now anymore? Caleb Williams.
Oh, yeah. Even Cust bailed on Caleb. He's got other guys. And I'll tell you,
what, that might be time to get in. That might be time to get in.
He's already, Huss, because of the Jets' first preseason game, thinking double-digit wins and called that week 1 preseason a hinge game. So he's already lost his mind and lost next year's custies and probably doing so. Yeah, I don't want to overrate the training camp videos. I see it. Caleb Williams does a lot of things that concern me. But I don't know. I don't want to overrate to like clickbait Twitter stuff, but I didn't like it. Listen,
I almost drove off the road when I heard Tim say, I'm not sure whether a preseason game can be a hinge game. Preseason game number 1, and then went on the rant about how the Jets. This could be the year. Fineberg, can't wait to do this more with you throughout the season when you've got time. Just on the way out, is our guy Tommy Fleetwood ever going to win a damn tournament? I mean,
Oh my God, that hurts.
That one on Sunday was, I mean, it was there. Scheffler was there. He backed up, and he got by JJ Spawn and Justin Rose. Both great players, both having awesome years, but I kind of left myself saying, I don't know if it's ever happening if it didn't happen on Sunday.
And then you watch him, and it's like a 4-minute interview of just pure class on class. I don't know.
The best.
That's why I guess we love him. It was just lovely golf, Huss. I could Tommy's a whipping boy, no doubt. But like Tommy, Spawn, even Scotty, Rose, like the class in that group battling for that tournament. Everyone's so likable, easy to cheer for. It was just lovely scenes, lovely golf, and 45 years old, Justin Rose, like hanging in there, being a guy. Wow. Like, holy Jesus. Golf, the magic. It's crazy.
Fill us in on what's coming on for you, like just for the entire season. I mean, of course, the pick show is going to be happening on a weekly basis. We usually get that late Monday or on Tuesday. What else are you going to be involved in the internet world and everything else when we start picking games? And, of course, you talking with your team, the Chargers.
Yeah, so, I mean, a lot still being finalized, but of course, like every week over at mailmedia.com, we'll be bringing it down. Over at the Hammer, there'll probably be some primetime games we do watch-alongs with, probably weekly, sharp versus square videos over at Odds Checker, where I'm the square, trust me. And yeah, just, football's
going to be going up against the man of the library? Or any of the other characters.
We're working that out, but no, someone more legitimate than that, Huss. But yeah, just follow me on Twitter at gfineberg17. So it'll be all football season long.
Dude, I cannot wait for NFL kickoff. I can't wait to talk Chiefs Chargers with you this year. And of course, we got Ryder Cup coming up. What are the odds right now on Ryder Cup, by the way?
I haven't looked at it recently, but I've got like a stack of Europe plus 160, Europe plus 155, Europe plus 150. Luke Donald's 5 steps ahead. I actually think it would be in the U.S.'s best interest if Keegan didn't play, because if he does play, I actually think they have no chance. I think a playing captain is with a player of that skill, which is, I'm not saying he's bad. He's obviously very good. I think they're walking into a trap if they think you can be a playing captain. I think the job requires so much. I think both jobs require so much. Both would suffer.
Hey, dude, great stuff as always. We'll catch up with you soon and enjoy the rest of the summer, because you know what happens after Labor Day. We are back with 18 weeks of NFL football and then playoffs. Great having you on the program, dude.
All the best, Huss.
Good stuff. All right. There is our pal, Jeff Fineberg at gfineberg17. And if you haven't already checked out, I mean, the stuff that he does with Pat and Tim is one of the most entertaining podcasts consistently on the entire internet. Take that from me. All right. Hey, Gold Eyes are back at it this night. Tonight at the ballpark. I'm actually going to be hitting there tomorrow. We've got another series, 3 games beginning tonight, 6:30 start. Looks like this weather's sort of cleared, so it should be a great night to get to the ballpark. Goldeyes.com. Get your tickets in advance. Don't wait picking things up afterwards. And, of course, you can also give them a call at 982-BASE. Still a bunch of games left of the rest of the season, so even if you've been there already, got to take advantage of the opportunities to get to the ballpark when you can. Huge thanks to Corey and the gang at Breezy Bend here. We're ready for the Manitoba Open. We'll be here all next week. If you do want more information on the tournament, everything else that they've got going on, especially for those of you with kids that might be into golf, it's free for the entire week. And get this, Saturday is family day. And not only do kids get in free, but every kid is going to get a free hot dog, chips, and drink. So let them run around, get them something to eat, check out some incredible high-level golf. It's going to be a lot of fun here at Breezy Bend beginning on Thursday. And again, ManitobaOpen.com for all the information on the upcoming tournament. We will get to our Assiniboia Downs odds coming up and make our picks in just a couple of minutes. But let's dive in to the Cool Bet lines. And we'll throw Connor back on here as he puts his headset on. Connor, we've got a big series for the Blue Jays beginning tonight. The Cubs and Jays going at it just after 6 p.m. Fineberg's heading to the game. We have a pitching matchup of Ben Brown versus Jose Barrios. The Jays a -125 favorite. The Cubs +106. I have a feeling most sports fans are going to be dialed into this one as this Jays pennant race feels like it started about a month ago. It's been so much fun right now. And I got to tell you, I was bummed not to have a game last night after the incredible excitement of that series finale at Chavez Ravine against the Dodgers.
But the Jays won the off day, Huss. The Astros picked up a 7-6 win over the Red Sox, so that pushed the Jays lead from 4 in the division to 4.5. So without even playing yesterday, the Jays won the off day. And yeah, big series coming back home. Rogers Center's going to be buzzing as the Jays look to follow up that big win. Mason Fluharty sitting down, Shohei Ohtani and Mookie Betts back-to-back. I'm going to be glued to the TV throughout this week with the Blue Jays taking on the Cubs, two of the best teams in the conference. Hopefully the Jays can keep it rolling here at home.
Here's some of the odds for the other games from tonight. The Yankees are at home to the Twins. Unfortunately, the Twins traded all of their players. So even as bad as the Yankees have been lately, they're a -217 favorite. The Guardians, speaking of teams that traded away a bunch of players, shut down their closer because of gambling allegations, and they've just started to beat everybody. They're -125 against the Miami Marlins. Phillies a -154 favorite in Cincy to take on the Reds. And the Mariners, who are right there with Houston in the battle in the West, -154 in Baltimore, taking on the Orioles. As far as the CFL goes, CFL lines are out. We will get to them tomorrow morning. Special edition of CFL 110, 9 a.m. We are going to be live at that point. All right, so we've got the Bombers as 6-point favorites against the Ottawa Redblacks. Bombers -270 on the money line. Elks and Argos, when we were looking at this earlier today, it was a 1.5-point spread. It's actually gone to 2.5 now. So the Elks laying 2.5 at home against the Toronto Argonauts. Elks -147, Argos +121. The Saskatchewan Roughriders -3.5 at home to the Hamilton Tiger Cats. Riders -192 on the money line. Ticats +157. And then the BC Lions in a number that I think is going to get bigger as the week goes on. -4.5 for the BC Lions. They are the favorite. -208 on the money line. And +168 for the Alouettes. Connor, some pretty juicy games that will be kicking around tomorrow morning when Hammer joins me for CFL 110. But outside of the Bomber game, I got to tell you, this Ticats Rider game on Saturday afternoon going to be a great test for both of those teams sitting at the top of their respective divisions. Yeah, and on the lost edition of CFL 110 this morning, you guys kicked around the Montreal quarterback situation and whether or not Caleb Evans is starting that game. Looks like he will be. So that last game on Saturday as well, BC and Montreal, that intrigues me because BC's coming off that huge road win in Hamilton in overtime. Absolute fireworks in that game. Now they're going to be on the fast track in the Dome at BC Place. And they're 4.5-point favorites, and they're a team that the Bombers are watching in that West Division. If the Bombers are unable to win on Thursday, you'll definitely be cheering. Well, regardless, Bomber fans will be cheering for Montreal on that one, but especially so if the Bombers can't get it done Thursday night. And then Edmonton, I mean, Cody Fajardo with the heroics last week, walking it off against Montreal, his old team, with Julian Grant, the revenge. Really, really looking forward. I mean, Edmonton seemed like they hadn't won in years at home. So
now they're a 2.5-point favorite at home. I'm just interested to see how that plays out, because if they end up losing or things go sideways, I don't think anyone would be shocked.
No, it's certainly not. Listen, I'll give you a bit of a heads up. Again, we'll have the full episode tomorrow at 9 a.m. But Hammer and I did dive into these games, and we always want to get to the lines as early as possible. I mean, it's funny. We were on the other side of the Argos-Elks game, but it was a very close one. We did some negotiating. We put the Argos at +1.5. Argos is now up to +2.5, which has helped the odds of the CFL Week 11 boost. We've got Argos +1.5, Riders -3.5, and BC -4.5. That's boosted right now from +687 to more than 8-1, +806. But again, that is volatile. I think it's gone up a bit because the Elks Argo game has gone a point towards the Elks. So if you like the Toronto Sask BC combo, get over to CoolBet right now and get on it right at the top of the page. CFL 110 Week 11 boost, and we will try to get a winner for you. Speaking of the CFL and CoolBet, working on some fun things for Grey Cup Week, which we'll let you know about as we get closer to the end of the season. But we do have that trip to Labor Day that will be given away next week, along with myself and the gang on the 1930 crew. What we need you to do, folks, is send in a screenshot of any $10 bet or more at CoolBet. And it doesn't have to be CFL. You can put it on Blue Jays or baseball or hockey, anything. And you need to email that, a screenshot of the bet and your CoolBet user ID, as well as your contact info, so we can call you if you win, to contest@winnipegsportstalk.com. Contest@winnipegsportstalk.com. Everyone that sends in a ballot is going to get an entry into our draw, which we'll do via a marble race. Actually, I guess from here during the second round of the Manitoba Open. Not next week, or sorry, not this Friday, but the following Friday. We'll give that away and then give you a week to plan for it. So, again, all cool bettors. And, hey, if you want to get in on it, you want to try CoolBet, you haven't before, just simply go there, use the promo code WST. When you sign up and make your first deposit, we'll double it up to $200. And then let us know where you're at. Send that in, and you'll be eligible to win the trip with myself, Schnitzy, DB, the entire gang going out to see, hopefully, the Bombers turn this season around at the expense of the Saskatchewan Rough Riders. I know you have a wedding or something this year for that. Again, poorly planned. These long weekend
getting married.
weddings.
I'm in the wedding party. Yeah, Sunday nights.
No way.
Yeah.
Sunday night. Well,
Like the time of the game. Like the game is Sunday night at 6. Yeah. So
what is going on with people planning weddings on Labor Day weekend on Sunday, like right during the game? I had some good friends that I agreed a long time ago to MC their wedding 2 years ago. And sure enough, I mean, like, it was right during the game.
Yeah.
I had to, or I tried to at least, just not look at my phone the entire time and have it PVR'd. And of course, as things went going, you guys hear what happened in the game? And you couldn't get around it.
How about I'll do you one better? I also got an invite from a distant, that I'm not going to this wedding, but I got an invite on Banjo Bowl Saturday. Wedding starts at 4 or 5. I know.
What are we doing here,
That's
people?
the biggest foul.
What are we doing here, people? This is
I mean, yeah.
It's a tough look. Listen, Connor, I know you can't do it this year, but next year, I think we're going to need you with the crew.
Oh, I'm in.
I think we're going to need you with the crew to join us over at in Regina. Okay, sorry, I've got to put this up.
Yeah, it looked really fun last year when you guys did that, and there were so many videos coming out of it. And Schnitzy obviously is a big Bomber fan, as me and him have been doing the WST Bombers report. And thank you to everyone who checked that out. That came out yesterday, breaking down the Calgary loss. But I know I'm jealous. Last year I wasn't able to make it. I was going to Winnipeg Beach with my dad, watching the game with our crew out there, and then this year the wedding. So count me in for next year. I'll have to block out all possible avenues and make it out on the bus with you, Schnitzy, DB, and everyone else.
It'll be all good to do that. Now, again, you'll have a chance to win one if you throw in that $10 bet. But I do believe we've got a pair of seats or so on the bus left. I'm not sure, but if you go to the 1930crew.com to get more information on that, we should be able to get you all set up and get you involved. I think there is still room if you're not working on it. All right, tonight, Assiniboia Downs, we have a heck of a card of live racing coming up. And as I put this together, I should have leaned on Michael Remus for his picks a little bit later on. I know Remus is on it. He never misses it. What I need to do, though, is sign in right now. You ever get out to the track, Connor?
I've never been out to the track.
You're out?
Huss.
You're out ever?
Not in a long time. If I went, I was very young. Like it's been 10 years at least. So yeah, I mean, hey, we got to go. Well, WST night at Assiniboia Downs.
Yeah, we'll do it before the end of the season for sure.
Oh yeah.
And you're right out there now as you make your move across the city. So you'll be in pretty good shape. All right, here we go. We got Tuesday night. I got to pull up the track here, and excuse me. This is not. I don't want Woodbine. I want Assiniboia going to the post today at 7:30 p.m. I'm going to start it off in race number 3. I see Nickety Split is the favorite, and certainly on the program selections as well. That might be the one I'm going for. A favorite. We'll go with number 1, Nickety Split in race number 4. Few of our faves in this one. Do Not, number 7, and Will to Par. But Brainiac, the big favorite, going to skip race 4 for our for the Triactor. Going to take one, though, in race number 5. We'll go with the 2 favorite horses. We got number 2, Cyberstorm, and number 4, Maybe So. And we're going to add in number 8, Not True. So a 2, 4, 8 Triactor box for race number 5. Race number 6, we've got a little Exacta box. And we're going to go Market King and Gallant Oak, 1-7 Exacta box in race number 6. And then the final race is race number 7. Poderoso Ecus has been a great course this year. We'll go with it 7 and 6. I know Cajun Eddie is the number 2 ranked, but we're going to actually pop in I Will Stand, number 3. So a 3-6-7 Triactor box. That's the final pick. We'll see if I can extend the lead on Remus, who has been catching up quite well over the last little bit. Connor, unfortunately, we just didn't have a lot of Bomber stuff to talk about today, but that's another reason for people to tune in and join us live tomorrow.
Yes.
9 a.m. CFL 110.
I'm going to be spending all night figuring out everything there could be with OBS. Rigorous testing will be done tonight. I might not even sleep tonight.
You'll sleep tonight. It'll be just fine. It's all good. But as I say, we'll be all right. In a way, we've got a dress rehearsal already done. So I'm even more confident that CFL 110 will be as awesome as ever. And I'll tell you what, if you have been following the league, that weekend we just had, I mean, if we can't put together a great show after that, we shouldn't be doing it, because there were so many awesome topics to get to, which we will do with that live broadcast of the show tomorrow. And speaking of Bombers, although it was a closed practice today, and we didn't really get any information on the lineup, who was out there. Tomorrow on the program, we'll have a depth chart.
Yeah.
We'll find out, if anyone's missing, if they're making some changes on either sides of the football.
The secondary. Yeah.
Secondary for sure. Just how that's going to look going up against Drew Brown. And but Ed Tate, we'll be talking to Gabe Wallace, and for you Bomber fans, we'll do a little raid coming up on that. You can head over, say hi to Ed, tell him the WSTers are there, and tomorrow one more sleep until we get back to Princess Auto Stadium for the Thursday nighter. I would obviously prefer a Friday night game, But for our purposes on WST,
Yeah.
it certainly does give us a full day getting ready for the game on Thursday, and then we'll be right back to react to it before we even get to the weekend and the other games of the full show on Friday.
And then Friday, or coming up later in the week, another episode of WST Winners with NFL Futures bets. Those are getting going this month as well. And then we'll have another NFL Futures coming up later in the month. And then weekly, Fridays, NFL picks. The conversation with Fineberg has me fired up. I'm ready for NFL season. I don't fall for the training camp clickbait either. And I think it gains me an advantage in my fantasy football league because everyone else falls for it.
You didn't go and bet Shedeur Sanders for Offensive Rookie of the Year because he had a couple good drives in week one of the preseason?
Proving my point.
Yet?
Yes, exactly.
Well, there's still lots to be done. We got week 2 of the preseason coming up. We'll check in with Hacksaw. Oh, and by the way, I know so many of you love Fineberg on. Tomorrow, one of the real OGs, Mr. Gabriel Morency. Gabe Morency is going to join me on the program. Cannot wait to have Gabe on. We'll also talk to Mike McIntyre, get his thoughts on the Bombers, as well as a little more Jets offseason talk, although there's not really anything happening right now. And then, of course, we're going to be back right here for what should be a really, really fun week at Breezy Bend over the course of Tuesday to Friday next week. We'll have Eric Comrie jump on with us. Braxton Kuntz as you get ready to kind of tee it all up. Tuesday, Pro-Am on Wednesday, and then the real thing from Breezy, and hopefully you'll be able to come by and say hi at some point next week. Come out. Again, all kids 18 and under free all week for the tournament. So even if you want to just drop them off, let them run crazy for a few hours, check out some great golf, and then grab them earlier. But all details on parking, which is just down the way with free shuttles, nonstop bringing you here. Looks like they're set up for a really, really amazing event, and cannot wait to be here on location next week with myself and Remus while Connor is away. That's going to do it for us. Once again, thanks to Breezy. That sandwich that we had beforehand,
you're still looking at yours.
Absolutely elite. I've got another half to get to it, and I'm going to do that right about now. We will send you over to Ed Tate and the Bomber crew, but don't forget, folks, tomorrow, 9 a.m., special early edition of CFL 110. And then, yes, as Connor mentioned, throughout the NFL regular season, we'll have our pick show. Myself, Jake, Pat from Cool Bets, some special guests. I'm sure Connor will be popping in. 10 a.m. on Fridays throughout the year, but we'll begin that after we head out to Labor Day, and then we get ready for week number 1. You know, it's going to be fun. That first show is going to be the day of Chargers Chiefs in Brazil. The day after Cowboys and Eagles start things at the Link as the I don't have to think about it, but the Eagles will be raising their Super Bowl banner. Great stuff. Thanks again to Corey and the great staff at Breezy for their hospitality. We can't wait to be out here next week for the Manitoba Open. Thanks to Jeff Fineberg and, of course, Ken Weeb and Ryan Hart, who joined me live here at Breezy Bend, and, of course, Connor Hrabchak and all of you in the chat. And a big thanks to the sponsors that make this show happen each and every day. For Connor Hrabchak, Andrew Z, kicking ass, helping us out while Michael Remus is away. Thanks to all of you for hanging out today. We will see you tomorrow, 1 p.m., you know where, right here on Winnipeg Sports Talk. Have a good one again.
Oh, my God. Oh! Shut it down. Let's go home.
Thanks for tuning in to Winnipeg Sports Talk Daily. Make sure to subscribe on YouTube and your favorite podcast feed at winnipegsportstalk.com.